there be impeachment trial during the break? So to answer those questions, our guest for today is no other than Senate President Francis Chis Escudero. Hi sir, magandang umaga.
Good morning. At parang dumami kayo.
May mga good morning sa mga guests
Kung
from
kailan
COCA.
nag-recess, doon kayo dumami.
Sir, unang question. Since yung verified impeachment complaint against VP Sara is now in the Senate, ang tanong ng marami, bakit, why the Senate went on break last night without tackling the verified impeachment case against VP Sara?
Well, una, yun ang schedule namin. Alam niyo namang lahat yun. Nahuling araw namin kahapon, magbe-break talaga kami at magre-resume matapos ang halalan sa June 2. Walang rason para magbago o baguhin yun kahapon. Napakinggan ko si Myla kahapon, si Myla. Tinatanong si Senator Pimentel, bakit daw walang nagtanong? Sasagutin ko yun. Trabaho ko bilang Senate President, sagutin o presiding officer, sagutin anumang katanungan na ibabato sa plenaryo. Pero hindi ko trabahong tanungin yung mga miyembro kung bakit hindi sila nagtanong at anong nasa isip nila, ba't hindi sila nagtanong. Fact is, walang nagtanong dahil hindi pa naman officially informed ang Senado, ang plenaryo, kaugnay sa paghahain ng impeachment complaint. Dahil dadaan pa ito sa isang proseso sang-ayon sa rules at practice at procedure ng Senado kaugnay ng mga impeachment complaints.
So sir, mali yung impression na parang may napag-usapan ba na wag itong itackle sa Senate plenary?
Walang caucus na naganap, walang usapang naganap sa pagitan ng mga miyembro ng Senado kaugnay nito o kaugnay ng anumang bagay. Bago kami nag-adjourn kahapon, nung Martes, nung Lunes, kahit nung nagdaang linggo, wala kaming pagpupulong na formal kaugnay nito.
So what will happen now on the articles of impeachment? As Senate President, it's your call, di ba sir? So what is your plan?
Isa-isahin muna natin. Sang-ayon sa rules ng Senado, kapag kami inihaing articles of impeachment or complaint or resolution on impeachment sa Senado, the Senate President, nakalagay sa rules namin, shall take proper order of the subject of impeachment. Ngayon, ano bang ibig sabihin ng shall take proper order of the subject of impeachment? Hindi nung impeachment complaint, hindi nung impeachment, but the subject of impeachment. Ibig sabihin nun, kailangan isaayos muna ng Senate President ang Senado para sa pag-conduct ng isang pagdinig o trial. Sasagutin ko rin yung isang napakinggan kong abogado na tila eksperto din daw sa mga bagay na ito. Sabi niya, the Senate shall immediately, ayon sa kanya, sabi ng Constitution, proceed with trial. Busin na lang ng konti pero parang hindi niya nabasa yung saligang batas. Walang sinabing immediately ang saligang batas. Ang sinabi ng saligang batas ay shall forthwith proceed with trial. Ngayon, kung babalik tanawan natin, bago ko sagutin yung tanong, Sally, kukompletuhin ko na para...
Okay.
Kung babalik tanawan natin, may inihain na impeachment complaint noon, noong 2011, laban kay Ombudsman Mercy Gutierrez. Inihain nyo ng March 23. Nag-adjourn ang Senado ng March 26. Walang ginawa ang Senado noon. Nagsimula ang trial May 19. Mahigit kulang-kulang isang buwan ang lumipas dahil magre-recess din sila noong mga panahong yon. Kung maalala nyo ang impeachment ni dating Chief Justice Corona, ng yumaong dating Chief Justice na si Corona, final ang impeachment complaint ng December 13, nag-trial po sila January 19. So kung susuriin nyo, base sa President yung salitang forthwith, hindi naman po ibig sabihin nun kinaumagahan, agad-agad, dali-dali. Mahigit 2 buwang inupuan, pinag-aralan, binasa, tiningnan ng Kamara yung mga impeachment complaint na nakabinbin. Mahigit 2 buwan, hindi finorward ng Secretary General ang impeachment complaint sa tanggapan ng Speaker para i-refer sa plenary at sa Committee on Justice. Magkatabi lamang naman ang kwarto tulad sa Senado ng Secretary General at ng Speaker, ang Secretary ng Senate at ng Senate President. Bakit naman kami bigla sasabihang gumalaw, umakto agad sa loob lamang ng ilang oras? Kung nagpa-banjing-banjing sila gawin ito, siguro wala naman silang basihan ngayon na madaliin kami, lalo na nasa huling araw na ng sesyon. Yan pinadala sa amin, halos mag-aalas 5 pa ng hapon. So, bilang katugunan, gagampanan namin ang aming tungkulin na pwedeng magawa habang recess, kabilang na ang pag-review ng rules ng Senado sa impeachment dahil kailangan po itong i-update. Halimbawa, yung pagkakaroon at requirement ng judicial affidavits, yung pagkakaroon ng provision at procedure para mag-hearing sa harap ng commissioner, yung pagkakaroon ng matatag at malakas na pre-trial procedure para swabe na at hindi na komplikado at magulo yung trial proper. Ito ay mga bagong procedure sa rules of court na pumasok bago po namin itinalaga yung aming rules on impeachment noon na kailangan po naming baguhin. Pangalawa, kailangan pa rin pag-aralan siyempre ng Secretary General ng Senado, ng Secretariat ng Senado, yung impeachment complaint mismo. Tinanggap lamang namin yung kahapon. So dun sa nagsasabing, bakit hindi agad-agad binabasa ba? May trabaho po kaming kailangan gampanan. Halimbawa, sang-ayon po kasi sa e-commerce law at sa e-gov law, pwede naman maglagay ng e-signature. Hindi ba? Sa resolution, sa bill, sa committee report. Pwede ang e-signature dahil hindi po yan verified. Subalit, ang complaint or resolution on impeachment, verified po yan. Pinanumpaan dapat yan sa harap ng Secretary General ng Kamara. Susuriin pa po isa-isa ng Secretary ng Senado yung mga pirma kung e-sig ba yon o wet signature. Bawal po ang e-sig. Dahil kailangan pinanumpaan ito. Paano ka manunumpa sa harap ng SecGen kung inutos mo lang yung opisina mong i-affix yung e-sig? Meron naman pong app, gagamit kami ng iba't ibang app para makita at malaman kung e-sig nga ba siya o wet signature. Para matiyak na yung bilang talaga ay sapat dun sa 1/3 para mag-comply dun sa direct filing sa Senado. Mga halimbawa lamang ito na mga dapat pang gawin at gampanan ng Senado. At bilang panghuling sagot, para mag-convene ang impeachment court, kailangan may sesyon ang Senado.
Okay.
Para manumpa ang impeachment judges, kailangan may sesyon ang Senado. Bagaman ang trial pwede mag-proceed kahit na recess, tulad ng nangyari kay dati at yumaong Chief Justice Corona, dapat ito'y masimulan, makonvene at mapanumpa ang mga judges kapag may sesyon. So kung may mangyayari mang aksyon o kaganapan kaugnay nito, yan ay mangyayari sa June 2, pag-resume ng Senado, matapos ang eleksyon at pasayan ng mayoriya ng Senado kung aamyendahan ba yung rules, anong ilalagay sa rules, i-authorize ba tulad ng nasa rules of court ngayon na suppletorily applicable na pwedeng mag-hearing habang recess dahil may 12 senador pa namang maiiwan natatawid hanggang 2028 pa ang termino, kabilang ako. 12 lamang naman ang matatapos ang termino. Gagawin ba yung parang sa rules of court, I'm only citing examples, na i-authorize yung 12, parang hearing before a commissioner, natanggapin lamang yung ebidensya. Ito'y court of record naman kasi. Ibig sabihin, kahit na wala pa at hindi personal na narinig yung ebidensya, mababasa naman. Ngayon nga may video pa.
Okay. Sir, yung
Sana natugunan ko yung iyong katanungan.
Sir,
Bagaman mahaba.
Sir, yung normal course of events na hindi kayo pwedeng mag-impeachment trial dahil naka-adjourn yung session. Pero according to Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, may tinatawag siya na extraordinary situation na pwede niyong i-waive yung rules at kung acceptable to everyone, pwede pa rin kayo mag-conduct na impeachment trial kahit naka-break ang session.
Pwede na, gaya ng sinabi ko, ginawa yan nung panahon ng impeachment ni dating Chief Justice Renato Corona. Tumuloy yung impeachment trial bagaman nag-adjourn na ang Kongreso at ang Senado. Nasa rules namin yun. Hindi na kailangan maging extraordinary pa. Pero ulitin ko, kailangan nasimulan at sinimulan ang trial ng may sesyon dahil kailangan mag-convene ang impeachment court ng may sesyon. Walang sariling buhay ang impeachment court, hiwalay sa Senado mismo, sa plenaryo ng Senado. Kinakailangan ng plenaryo ng Senado para masimulan ang impeachment court.
So sir, it is better ba kung na-submit ng House of Representatives earlier o few days before ng adjournment para may time kayo na na-actionan sa
That
plenary?
is water under the bridge. It's not for me to decide or pass over the wisdom, absence, or lack of it on the part of the House in filing it a few hours before we adjourn. Mas marapat siguro sila ang matanong kaugnay niyan. Pero ulitin ko, hindi naman siguro makatarungan o tama na pagkatapos nilang upuan ito ng ilang buwan, biglang pwersahin, pipilitin at sasabihan kami ng sino mang galing sa Kamara na, hoy, bilisan nyo, aksyonan nyo, ano ba kayo? Hindi. Hindi ganon at hindi ako papayag din nun. Ang impeachment process para sa akin, hindi mahalaga kung pabor kayo o kontra, hindi mahalaga kung ma-acquit o ma-convict. Ang mahalaga para sa akin, bilang tagapangulo ng Senado, maging maayos ito, sang-ayon sa batas, credible, kapanipaniwala, at magagawad ng hustisya. Pabor man yun sa opinion ng mas nakararami o konti o hindi.
Considering yung mention nyo ng mga possible scenarios, sir, can we say na walang mangyayaring impeachment trial during the break or mahirap?
Wala. Legally, it cannot be done.
So,
Legally, it cannot be done, again, as I said, because the impeachment court was not convened. The impeachment complaint was not referred to plenary for there to be a basis for the impeachment court to be convened by the Senate sitting as a legislative body. Hindi muna as an impeachment court.
sir, kahit sinabi ni PBBM na ayaw niya sa impeachment dahil divisive, sinuportahan pa na isang religious group, pero still, natuloy pa rin na-impeach si BP Sara sa House, na i-transmit dito sa Senate. Indication ba yon na hindi nagpa-impluensya ang House of Representatives?
Siguro mas sila yung dapat mong tanongin yan, hindi ako. Basta ang Senado, gagampanan namin ang tungkulin namin ng, tatagalugin ko ng may malamig na neutralidad ng isang hukom na walang kinikilingan. We will perform our duty and function with the cold neutrality of an impartial judge. And without fear nor favor, we will rule over things as we see fit and based on what is right and what the law provides.
Since it is a political process, can we expect na lahat po ng mga senador na tatayong impeachment judge ay magiging fair and impartial, considering na iba, kaalyado ni BP Sara?
It is a political process, pero para sa akin, ito'y masasaksihan ng ating mga kababayan, tutunghayan ng ating mga kababayan. At malaki ang papel na gagampanan ng public opinion naman talaga dito. At yan ang tinatawag na political process siguro. Pero maging ganun pa man, siguro sabay-sabay tayo, impeachment judge man or mga kababayan natin na manonood sa pagdinig. At base sa ating mapapakinggan, makikita, hindi maririnig o hindi makikita, tayo mismo ay gagawa ng sarili nating pasya. At dahil political process nga ito at mga politiko ang tatayong umuupo bilang hukom, sinong politiko ang kilala mo na sumusuwag, ika nga, sa public opinion, lalo na sa panahon ng halalat. So, inimbento talaga itong sistemang ito na nagsulat ng ating saligang batas para ganito naman talaga. Hindi para maging sobrang hiwalay, ika nga, sa opinion ng publiko kaugnay sa bagay nito dahil politiko din naman ang hinuhusgahan.
From Myla muna, although parang nabanggit nyo na, kung
Phone in.
kung sir, kung after election, magkukonvene yung impeachment court, tas limited na yung time ninyo, carry over yun kung bago na yung composition ng mga senador at kongresista sa 20th Congress?
Iyon ang aking paniniwala. Bakit? Ang Amerika kung saan natin kinopya yung ating sistema ng demokrasya at Republican government. Yung kanilang Senado, sa pagkakaalam ko, 1/3 lamang ang hinahalal at any one time. May naiiwang 2/3 pa rin. Kaya pwede mong sabihing continuing body talaga yung Senado. Ang Senado ng Pilipinas, 12. So, walang majority, walang quorum ang maiiwan. Subalit, ilang bagay ang nais kong sabihin kaugnay nito. Tingnan nyo na lamang ang mga collegial courts dahil ito hindi function ng legislature. Hindi ito typical na bill sa aking pananaw na pagtapos ng Kongreso, i-file mo uli. Pag hindi na-aprobahan, kailangan aprubahan uli ng magkabilang kamara. Kahit na-aprobahan sa kamara, dito hindi, simula uli sa simula. Halos lahat naman siguro sang-ayon. Ito ay impeachment court. Hiwalay sa function ng lehislatura. Pero syempre, kikilalanin ang pagtatapos ng termino ng mga miyembro nito. So ano ang pwede nating ihalin tulad dito? Ang mga collegial courts. Ano-ano ang collegial courts? Sandigan Bayan, Court of Appeals, Supreme Court. Isama mo na yung Constitutional Commission, kabilang na ang Civil Service, ang COMELEC. Tanong, kapag kami nakabinbin bang kaso sa mga ito at nagpalit sa tagal ng kaso sa mga korteng yan, ang mga maestrado ng Korte Suprema, maestrado ng Court of Appeals ng Sandigan Bayan, dahil ito ay mga courts of record naman, dinidismiss ba yung kaso o nagpapatuloy lamang? Hindi ba ang sagot ay nagpapatuloy lamang ito? Patuloy lamang yung mga kaso maski nagpapalit ang bumubuo ng collegial court na yon, tulad lamang ng impeachment court. Lalo na court of record din ang impeachment court, kung saan magpalit man, mag-absent man, hindi man mapakinggan ng personal ng impeachment judge, pwede pa rin siya gumawad ng desisyon base sa record na tinanggap ng ebidensya ng impeachment court.
Sir, may patanong lang si Nympha. Paano ko
Kanina naman,
magpatawag?
asan ba sila?
Nasa press officer. Paano daw ko magpatawag ng special session si PBBM? Pwede nyo na actionan yung impeachment?
Oo, pwedeng mangyari yon, pero ang pagpapatawag ng special session sa aking pagkakaalam ay hindi para mag-convene ang impeachment court. Sa aking pagkakaalam, ang pagtatawag ng special session ay para sa mahalagang bagay at panukalang batas na kailangan ipasa ayon sa ating saligang batas. Hindi ito isa o saklaw marahil nung probisyong yon, kaugnay ng special session. Pero haharapin namin yon pag nandiyan na. Siyempre, pag nagpatawag ng special session, sangayon man kami o hindi, siyempre, alam namang hindi kami mag-attend.
Okay, Mav and then RG.
Sir, some senators. Sir, meron pong mga re-electionist senators na nag-raise na ng concerns na hindi nga raw sila makakampanya kapag araw po nagkaroon ng hearing during the break. Was that part of the consideration?
No. Again, we did not talk about that. Nobody discussed that with me, that particular concern. Again, because no caucus was held about it for the simple reason that I don't want to presume that things will happen before it happens. Mukha naman kami masyadong excited, di ba, na, oh, ayun na, bukas, nandiyan na, liga, meeting tayo. No, we did not do that. We had a lot of work to do trying to rush pieces of legislation that I'm sure you don't want to ask about anymore and will not talk about, given the impeachment, na mahalaga din naman, na makabuluhan, at may malaking impact sa ating ekonomiya at bansa.
Okay, RG.
Just
At teka, follow up lang dun sa kay Senator Bato. So, may
Si
cases...
Senator Bato ba? Some senators lang ang sabi ni Ma'am.
Sir, marami sila.
Pero isa si Senator Bato na parang concern niya, parang talo sila o lugi kasi hindi sila makakapag-ikot habang ibang senatorial candidates makakapag-ikot.
Actually, again,
May basis yung
not
concern.
necessarily. Tandaan mo, maraming senador ang maraming kongresista ang sumikat sa impeachment at naging senador. Maraming mga senador na nag-re-elect din base sa impeachment. So, depende. Dahil nakatutok ang lahat ng buong sambayanan doon, ayaw mo nun, di ka na mag-iikot. Kung yun talaga yung pakay mo, meaning. So, depende. Sagot ko ron, depende. Pero ulitin ko, hindi namin napag-usapan yan.
But it can make or break re-electionists.
Well, definitely. Pero it's a platform, it's an opportunity. Saan ka makakakita ng live na teleserye tungkol sa tunay na buhay ng tao na hindi susubaybayan? Nasa sayo na lang kung yung karakter mo ba'y kontrabida ron o bida.
At wala pang bayad, free.
Isa pa yun, walang bayad.
RG.
Hala. Okay.
okay, sir. Ang dami kasing pumirma dun sa impeachment complaint, about 215. Do you think that is reflective of the support for the leadership of the House?
Hindi ko maintindihan kung saan nanggaling yung press release na yon ng Speaker. Sa pagkakaalam ko, ang impeachment complaint ay kaugnay sa pagpapanagot ng isang impeachable officer. At walang kinalaman sa pagsuporta sa liderato ng Kamara. Ihahalin tulad ko na lang siguro dito. Na makonvict o ma-acquit ba sa dami o liit ng boto, magre-reflect ba yon sa suporta sa akin ng mga mambabatas dito sa Senado? Sana hanggat maaari wag dating iugnay masyado sa politika o pangangampi ang prosesong ito dahil naihain na nga, ayoko nang bigyan ng kulay politika ito, magkabilang kulay man, green man o red. o yellow o anuman.
Sir, ang isa bang senatorial candidate can act as a defense lawyer?
Candidate, what do you mean?
Kasi may isang senatorial candidate, di ba? Parang may state, Attorney V.
Sino?
Attorney V. Frederick.
Nag-volunteer na agad siya?
Oo.
Kailangan muna siyang tanggapin ng kliyente bago siya makapag-volunteer. Parang, ang pag-volunteer ng abogado sa kaso, alam ko tawag dyan ay ambulance chasing. Hindi yata tama yun. Marapat ang kliyente, ang akusado, ang ini-impeach, ang mag-anunsyo ng kanyang mga abogado. At hindi para i-volunteer yung serbisyo ng abogado. Yan ay nasa ethics ng mga abogado.
Okay, RG.
Sir, I think in the past it was reported that the former president would like to be a defense counsel for the vice president.
Actually, that would be expected. Sinabi na niya yan, abogado siya, abogado rin. Si Vice President Sara Duterte, abogado rin yung kanyang asawa. Hindi ko na ikakagulat yan kung mangyayari man yan.
There's no impediment to that.
There is none.
So, sir, ko
In
consider...
fact, even the Vice President herself present herself in addition to other lawyers.
So, sir, ko consider nyo sa pag-draft kung papayagan ng isang senatorial candidate na maging defense
By
lawyer.
that time, tapos na ang halaman.
Oo
Hindi na
nga.
siya kandidato, abogado na lamang siya.
Okay, Amor.
SP, to clarify po, yun po pagsasagawa or pag-amend ng rules for the impeachment trial, hindi din siya gagawin during the recess or it's something na pwedeng gawin during the break?
Ngayon na namin gagawin lahat ng pag-aaral, lahat ng panukala, pero kailangan yan aprubahan ng plenaryo sa sesyon ng Senado.
So, drafting, sir.
Yes. Pero
So-
mahabang proseso din yun dahil maraming kailangan i-update sa rules. Kung maalala nyo, mula nung aktual na nakatapos ng impeachment ang Senado sa impeachment ni dating Chief Justice Corona, hindi pa na-update yung rules. At maraming butas yung rules na yon na hindi rin in-update matapos yung karanasan ng Senado noon. Dagdag mo pa dyan yung mga pagbabago sa rules na inilabas ng Korte Suprema para mas mapabilis, mas maging efficient yung trial. Ika nga. But I will state one thing for the record and as a matter of policy. Hindi namin ito mamadaliin. Pero hindi rin naman namin ito labis na iaantala. Hindi kami magpapapressure kanino man na bilisan ito o i-delay ito. Gagawin namin yung trabaho namin ayon sa saligang batas bilang pagsunod sa tinatalaga nito at rules mismo ng Senado. Bagaman wala pong updated rules ng Senado, meron pa ring rules na nananaig ngayon. Yan yung existing rules pa namin. Nakabilang nga dyan yung binanggit ko that the Senate President shall take proper order of the subject of impeachment and matapos nun, shall notify the House of the date when the prosecutors are set to appear. Pero bago lahat mangyari yung tinatawag yung trial, kailangan muna mag-acquire ng jurisdiction ng Senado. Sa ngayon na tinanggap na ng Senado yan, hindi na may kakailang nasa Senado na yan at impeached na si Vice President Sara Duterte. At bagaman hindi pa na-convene yung impeachment court, matter of course na lamang yon, ministerial ang pag-take ng jurisdiction ng Senado sa impeachment complaint na ito. Hindi na rin may kakaila yun. Pero kailangan pa matapos mangyari yon, i-amend yung rules, i-update yung rules, i-convene yung court, or base sa rules, pag nagsabi ang rules na kahit na hindi pa kinoconvene ang impeachment court dahil nga patapos na ang termino ng 19th Congress, baka pwedeng bigyan ng kapangyarihan yung mga maiiwan na magsagawa na ng mga prosesong pwedeng isagawa bago ang trial. Kabilang na halimbawa, ang pagpapasagot sa nasasakdal. Ang pagbibigay ng pagkakataon sa prosecutor na sagutin yung sagot o reply dun sa answer. Ang pagsusumite ng judicial affidavits ng mga testigo na magkabilang panig. Ang pag-conduct ng pre-trial, pagkakasundo nila. O ito, concede na namin, tama na yan. Ito, hindi kami papayag dito. Pagdibatihan natin yan, presentahan natin ebidensya dyan. O pag-submit ng pre-trial brief. Dahil alalahanin ninyo, bagaman hindi tumutuloy-tuloy ang Senado, ang Senate President, sang-ayon sa rules ng Senado, ay uupo pa rin bilang Senate President hanggang nahalal na ang kanyang kapalit. Dahil ang termino ko ay matatapos pa sa 2028. kumpara dun sa mga nagdaang Senate President na nagkataong natapos yung kanilang termino ng June 30. Mananatili akong Senate President sa panahon ng break, kung saan itong mga bagay na ito ay pwedeng magawa para hindi mag-aksaya ng panahon, ika nga, ang Senado. At ng forthwith, trial may proceed already.
Sir, ang status po ngayon is tinitingnan pa po ni Senate Secretary and kayo po mismo titingnan nyo pa yung impeachment articles
Siya na
of
lang.
impeachment.
Siya
Si
na lang.
Senate Secretary lang.
Kasi ang titingnan lang naman niya, sufficiency in form and substance in terms of the signatures nga. Nag-comply ba yung verification, yung under oath na form? Napirmahan nga ba ito ng 1/3, which is 102? Pero ayon sa ulat sa balita, 70% ang pumirma. So sobra doble o doble ang pumirma. Sobra doble ang kinakailangan bilang ng pumirma. So yun lamang naman ang gagawin niya. Matapos nun, ilalagay nila dapat yan sa agenda eh. Pero hindi tayo nga umabot doon. Dahil nga, kapos, gahol sa oras, at bakit ba kasi last minute at last hour na?
Pero sir, bibigyan ng copy yung mga senators para mabasa na nila?
Yes, in fact, we will make it public. I don't see any reason why it should not be made public. It is not a secret document. It is a public document and I believe it should be made public.
Sir, sorry, last na po. When is the earliest po sa tingin nyo na mapag-uusapan ninyong mga senador yung rules?
June 2.
Okay.
No, formally, in plenary.
In plenary. Pero sir, yung pagdadraft ninyo?
Hindi kami na yun. Secretariat principally ang gagawa nun.
Hindi na mga senador?
Hindi na siguro. Magkukonsultahan na lang kami either virtually about this and simply consult them on the rules.
Okay, before Mayan,
So,
RG,
to finish, siguro magda-draft ang secretariat. Papadala na lamang sa mga senador for comment or inputs. Para at least pag-resume namin sa June 2, medyo joined na yung issues. Ika nga, kung ano na lamang yung pagbobotohan kung meron man.
okay, before Mayan, RG, Mav, and Cecil, may patanong lang dito, sir. Just to put on record, if BP Sara is found guilty by the impeachment court, does that mean she could no longer seek for any government position? Perpetually disqualified na po ba siya?
Yes, the penalty for a person convicted in an impeachment trial is removal from office and absolute perpetual disqualification to hold public office, elected or appointed.
Okay, Mayan. And then RG.
Good morning,
Maven.
sir. Sir, ako ba, ate?
Ay, oo nga pala. Isa na una pala siya. Sorry, dalawang
Sir,
Mayan.
sir, sabi mo kanina, kailangan amend yung rule, magkakaroon kayo ng pre-trial, mahabang proseso. Yung kay Justice Corona dati, umabot ng 2 months bago nagsimula. So, ano yung chance ngayon ng impeachment dito sa Senate? Wala na.
Anong ibig sa kasalukuyang Senado?
Yes, sir. Kasi 1 month na yung natitira sa 19
O, sa
Congress.
Kung ang sinasabi mo ay trial, magkakaroon ba ng trial sa 19th Congress? Depende sa rules na i-approve namin. Kasi gaya ng sabi ko, isa sa mga posibilidad, yung innovation ng Korte Suprema of late, meaning pagkatapos ng rules namin noon, na pwedeng mag-receive ng ebidensya ang commissioners, na pwedeng buuin ng may iwang 12 senador, na maaaring magsimula ng bago mag-June 30. So 19th Congress pa rin yun. Kung yan ang magiging pasya ng Senado ng 19th Congress kaugnay ng rules. So may posibilidad. Trial pa rin yun Bagaman presentasyon ng ebidensya sa commissioner ang technical na salita, trial pa rin yun.
So, hindi pa din lumipat ng 20th Kasi naiwan yung dalawin.
Lalampas ng 20th Congress o aabot ng 20th? Aabot ng 20th Congress, oo.
Okay, Mayan, okay.
Halos tiyak na yun. Aabot ng 20th Congress at ang magpapasya na rito ay ang 20th Congress at hindi ang 19th Congress.
Sir,
Malalaman pa lamang natin yan matapos ang halalan.
Sir, may patanong uli. Si ERAP na pardon, pwede bang ma-pardon din si Sara at eventually run again?
Yes, Erap was not impeached. Erap was convicted and then was pardoned. Yes.
Yun
Not
yung
by the
pardon.
impeachment court.
Okay.
Dahil hindi naman natapos yung impeachment ni dating Pangulong Estrada dahil sa EDSA 2.
Okay, Mean.
Sir, to be clear lang,
Hindi pa ba clear?
hindi pa clear. Sir, kasi yung natanong na kayo na pero para lang mas malinaw. Yung kay Senator Coco na sinasabi niyang special circumstance na pwede pa rin magkasundo kayo 100% mag-convene kayo ng impeachment court during the break. Hindi na yun mangyayari.
Only when, as I said, the impeachment court was convened. When we, the legislature, the Senate as a legislature, took note or took cognizance of the case, were all sworn into office and convened the impeachment court. Hindi naman nangyari lahat yun During session. Hindi kami pwede paano namin i-refer yung impeachment sa Rules Committee para i-report out ng plenary para may basihan na magsumpa kami bilang impeachment court at i-convene yung impeachment court. Paano namin gagawin lahat yun ng walang session?
So parang dapat sana kahit paano na-report out man lang kagabi sa session. Tapos after nun, kahit hindi kayo nakabuo ng impeachment court, pwede during the break bumuo?
Hindi pa rin. Kailangan kasi yung pagsumpa namin at pag-convene ng impeachment court is in session. Ulitin ko ba't ba nyo kami minamadaling gumalaw ng ilang oras?
Process lang.
Sila mahigit 2 buwan, inupuan, pinag-isipan at pinag-aralan yan. Siguro naman entitled kami ng ilang araw man lang.
Thank you, sir. That's all for me.
Okay, RG and then si Mav and
Excuse
then
me, sorry.
Cecil.
Sir, of course, there are those na may mga nagre-react na doon sa sinabi nyo kanina that it cannot be done during the break and that sa June 2 na ang earliest action. What is your message to them?
Magbibingi-bingi ang School of Acting ako dun sa mga pabor sa impeachment complaint at laban kay Vice President Duterte. Magbibingi-bingihan din ako doon sa tutol sa impeachment at ayaw kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Hindi namin trabahong pakinggan sila. Trabaho namin gampanan yung aming tungkulin. Sa abot na aming mga kaya, base sa itinatalaga ng batas at hindi base sa gusto ng magkabilang panig na klaro ay partisano, pabor man o kontra sa impeachment, pabor man o kontra kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Wala kaming pakialam sa mga yan.
Sir, just to be clear, until the Senate renders a decision on the merits of the case, she remains Vice President.
Definitely yes. That is what the law states.
Pero sir, right now,
Unless, just for the sake of argument, because this was in part of our history, March 23, and I hope I will not be misquoted for this, March 23, final ang impeachment complaint laban kay Mercy Gutierrez. March 26, kinonvene ng Senate ang impeachment court, tapos nag-adjourn agad. In-announce na May 19 o May 9 ang impeachment case i-hear. April 29, nag-resign si Ombudsman Gutierrez. So that is the only instance na hindi matutuloy yung impeachment. Dahil ang parusa lamang sa impeachment ay pagkakatanggal sa pwesto and perpetual disqualification. May posibilidad sana na tinuloy ng Senado yon. Dahil yung resignation ay pagkakatanggal lamang sa pwesto. Pwede pa sana nilang ituloy yun para dun sa absolute perpetual disqualification. Pero minabuti ng Senado noong panahon yon na wag nang ituloy at i-dismiss na yung kaso.
pero sir, right now, walang nang pressure o kumakausap sa iyo from both sides para yung isa, bilisan, aksyonan, o yung iba naman para upuan itong
Well,
impeachment.
maraming bumabanat sa media magkabilang panig na gustong madalin o gustong
Huwag aksyonan.
i-dismiss ito. Pero walang epekto naman. At tulad ng sabi ko, hindi ko papakinggan yung mga boses na yan. Ang papakinggan at susundin lamang namin ay yung tinatalaga ng batas, ng aming rules, at kung ano ang tingin naming tama, parehas, patas, at magbibigay ng mas mataas na kredibilidad sa proseso ng impeachment. Ano man ang kalabasan o maging resulta nito.
Among your colleagues, sir, wala din ganong pressure, magkakaibang sentiments.
Hindi kami nagkausap. Siguro itong mga susunod na araw pa lang kami magkakausap-usap pag nagkita-kita sa kampanya. Pero ulitin ko, walang nangyaring meeting, pagpupulong o caucus na napag-usapan ito para yung mga sentimentong binabanggit nyo ay masabi o mailahad na aking mga kasamahan dito sa Senado.
Okay, ma'am. Cecil and then Robert.
Sir, pwede pa explain lang po na magkaiba yung session days sa trial days. Iba yung legislative calendar.
Iba. Nung nagdaan, ang ginawa nila ay kung naalala ko, tama, hapon ba? Yung sa Corona?
Opo. Sa umaga yung regular
Hapon,
session.
tapos sa umaga yung regular session. Pwede rin naman naming gawin uli yun. Or baliktad, umaga yung hearing, may takdang panahon, at yung session ng wala. Para mas mahaba yung talagang trabaho namin ng legislasyon. Kesa may cap yung trabaho namin sa legislasyon, we can switch it up. Pwede naman namin pagbalikta rin yun. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, kapag po nag-convene ng impeachment court, you have the power to compel VP Sara to appear here. She cannot say no.
Kapag ka kinakailangan, oo. Pero kapag ka hindi kinakailangan, the accused, the subject of impeachment, the respondent, the defendant in an impeachment case, can waive his or her appearance. Kinakailangan lamang naman, ayon sa rules of court, na mag-appear ang isang defendant o akusado, una kapag ka-arraignment, para sabihin niya, inaako ba niya o sinasabing hindi niya inaako yung mga paratang laban sa kanya, o pangalawa, pag kailangan siyang i-identify ng isang testigo. Maliban sa dalawang pagkakataong yon, merong ika nga waiver of appearance na tinatawag sa ilalim ng rules of court that has suppletory application sa impeachment court.
Bakit Chief Justice Corona inaresto during the trial because he tried to walk out?
No, hindi siya inaresto. Pinigilan siyang lumabas. Nandito na ako nun. Pinigilan siyang lumabas dahil sa kalagitnaan ng kanyang testimonya, tumayo siya, bumaba, at sinubukang lisanin yung korte. Isa pa pala yun, kailangan namin gumawa uli ng ganun. Sira na yun.
So may limit ba yung ipipresent?
Naalala mo yun, RG, yung sira na yun.
Oo, yung
Maghahanap pa.
15 years.
Kaya nga, wala na. Kinain na ng ana yun.
Pero sir, may limit ba yung pwedeng i-present na witness ng prosecution and defense panel o wala?
Wala, pero yan ay pagkakasunduan sa pre-trial. Naulitin ko, pwedeng magawa bago magsimula ang 20th Congress para nga hindi kami pabanjing-banjing at nag-aaksaya lamang ng panahon. Ulitin ko, hindi namin ito mamadaliin. Pero hindi rin namin labis na ipagpapaliban ito ng walang dahilan o rason.
Okay, Cecil.
Sir, balikan ko lang yung issue. What if malaman ng secretary pag-check na yung mga ising? Ano yung magiging?
Basta't 1/3 pa rin.
Basta ma-meet yung 1/10.
Basta't may 102 pa rin. Hindi na mahalaga sa amin kung 103 pa yan o 105 o 107 o kung sino yon. Ang mahalaga, mambabata sila at may 102 signatures.
Sir, may effect ba ito sa economy, itong mga political issue na ito?
Anumang ingay ng politika, palaging may posibleng epekto sa ekonomiya. Pero ang pangontra dyan ay kapanipaniwala at stable na proseso at procedure. Tulad ng sinusubukan kong gawin ngayon at i-establish ngayon. Para yung expectations ay tempered, walang tanong na hindi nasagot, walang alinlangan kung ano ang mga mangyayari sa susunod na araw, linggo at buwan, sa kabila ng anumang ingay na nagmumula sa pabor o kontra sa impeachment, sa pabor o kontra kay VP Sara. Ito, ang mga binabanggit ko sa inyo ngayong umaga, ito ang magiging proseso ng impeachment sa mga susunod na linggo at buwan.
And lalo magkakaroon ng confidence yung mga investors na okay naman yung situation sa
Oo, dahil ang impeachment ay isang prosesong nakasaad naman sa saligang batas. This is not an extra constitutional process. In fact, this is a purely constitutional and legal process provided for in our Constitution on how to make certain high officials of the country accountable for their actions and or inactions, specifically as alleged for alleged culpable violation of the Constitution, bribery, treason, graft and corruption, other high crimes, and betrayal of the public trust.
Okay.
Sir, may umuguin daw paggabi na po kasi hindi yata nadinig niyo po yun. Leadership sa...
Hindi. Piso isa naman na yan. Again, I will reiterate what I said earlier. It is a rumor until it happens.
Pang-counter daw yun ng mga Duterte, sir, dun sa impeachment.
Again, it is a rumor until it happens. Bakit? pag nagpalit, ano mangyayari?
Baka kung ano nila,
Anong iba nga mangyayari daw? Sabi nung chismis.
hindi matuloy. Anyway, Robert, and then Mean, Amor, and Raymond.
Sir, balikan ko lang po yung discussion nyo kanina regarding dun sa special session. Sabi nyo po pwede ang special session provided na ipinatawag ng Pangulo doon sa mga mahalagang panukalang batas. Granted po na may special session, halimbawa magkakasama na rin kayo. Yung possibility na matakel pa rin ito bilang sidelines halimbawa or kaya i-convene yung impeachment court po, pwede po ba yun?
Posible. Posible, but that is a subject matter to be decided upon by the plenary. Kasi ang kapangyarihan ng Senate President ay i-agenda lamang ito. Yung ginagawa naming mga referral sa floor na walang nag-object, sa anumang oras pwede mag-object kahit sino At pwedeng pagbotohan yon bago ma-refer. Maskin lahat ng ginagawa namin sa plenaryo are done through a proper motion. At kung mapapansin niyo, parang gas-gas na lang sa tenga siguro, masyado na kayo at tayong lahat sanay. Palagi nagtatanong ang presiding officer, is there any objection? There being no objection, motion is approved. So, pag may nag-object, pagbobotohan. Pero lahat ng naganap o nagaganap sa plenaryo, pinahintulutan ng mga miyembro.
Last na lang po. Sir, ano po ang mangyayari halimbawa po yung uupong hukom na senador, may kamag-anak po na kongresista na pumirma doon sa impeachment halimbawa ng Vice President. Ano pong mangyayari sa kanila?
Ang pag-inhibit ng huwes sa rules of court man o sa rules on impeachment ay voluntary sa parte niya. Walang proseso para pwersahang ipa-inhibit sa pamamagitan ng botohan ang sino mang hukom sa anumang paglilitis. So kung meron mang ganyang pagkakataon, desisyon niya. Pero babalik na rin ko. O de ko may posisyon pala yung pumirma, may posisyon din ba yung hindi pumirma na kailangan din mag-inhibit yung kamag-anak nun? Hindi naman siguro, di ba? Bakit nyo sasabihin kailangan lang mag-inhibit yung pumirma? Bakit hindi nyo sasabihin dapat mag-inhibit din yung hindi pumirma? It cuts both ways. But for me, it's a purely voluntary act, whether an impeachment judge will inhibit himself or herself.
Sir, follow-up doon. Pwede daw bang ma-disqualify ang sinumang senador na nag-express ng opposition sa impeachment?
Ma-disqualify saan?
Sa pag-as impeachment judge. Kasi may nagsabing, oo.
Sabi na kasi na para sa kanya acquit.
Hindi, o parang tututulan ko hanggang dulo yung impeachment.
19th Congress ba yan o 20th Congress? Kasi ang magpapasya, 20th na eh. So, ang tinatanong ko sa inyo, yung senador bang nagsasabi niya na i-acquit ay 19th Congress
Kapag
pa siya o
hunahalal
20th
ulit.
Congress?
Kung manalo, sir.
O de, hindi pa natin alam. So, 19th nga ba o 20th? Kaya yung tanong ko, di ba?
Pero sir, kung sakali, na hanggang 20th,
Again, I will admonish and keep on reminding the senators who will surely be part of the impeachment court, either in the 19th or 20th Congress, dahil impeachment court pa rin naman ang magpapasya ng ilang preliminary na mga bagay. To kindly, please, refrain from talking one way or the other for or against the impeachment or against or the impeachable officer in relation to this case. Pwede naman nilang purihin si Vice President Sara hanggang langit kung gusto nila nang walang kinalaman at hindi pumapatungkol sa impeachment. Wala namang problema yun. Pero this is a mere reminder and admonition. Wala naman akong kapangyarihang pigilan o pusulan ng kahit na sinong miyembro na nais magsalita kaugnay nito.
Mayan, Amor, and then RG. Ay, Raymond pa pala, sorry.
Actually, mainit dito. Mainit siya. Hindi niya ka-jacket-jacket. Kaya lang malulusot ako sa...
Sir, good morning. Sir, ito kasi walang jurisprudence, walang president na yung tumanggap na komposisyon ng Senado sa impeachment complaint ay itatransfer doon sa incoming Congress. So ano yung parang legal or constitutional basis natin na pwede nga na ma-push through doon sa incoming new composition of Congress?
Tama ka na unang beses lamang mangyayari ito sa Pilipinas. Sa Amerika, hindi. Pero sinabi ko rin na may pagkakaiba. May pagkakataon sa Amerika na tumawid na yung impeachment sa panibagong kongreso. Pero ang pagkakaiba nga, 2/3 kasi ng senador doon ay naiiwan pa. Dito, 1/2. Pero, tatawid ang pagiging Senate President kung hindi pa tapos ang kanyang termino tulad ko hanggang 20th Congress. So, gaya ng sabi ko kanina, may basehan tulad ng ibang collegial courts. Ulitin ko, Korte Suprema, pag may nag-retire na justice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dismissed yun at kailangan mo mag-file uli. Yung kaso ba sa Sandigan Bayan, sa COMELEC, sa Civil Service, sa appeals, dismissed ba yun pag may nag-retire na isang maestrado? Ang sagot din ay hindi. At yun siguro ang pinakamalapit na analogy, comparison na pwede natin gamitin sa impeachment court, na collegial court din. Minsan, bibigyan pa kita ng mas malalang sitwasyon. Yung ordinaryong korte natin, lang ang judge. Nag-retire yung judge. Ibig sabihin ba nun, lahat ng pending na kaso sa korte niya, dismissed? At kailangan i-file uli dahil nagpalit ng judge? Court of record ang ating mga korte tulad ng impeachment court. Siguro ang basihan ay hindi na tumutuloy-tuloy yung Senado or semi-continuing body ang Senado. Ang basihan ay Court of Record ang impeachment court. At dapat lamang na magpatuloy yon hanggang matapos yung kaso. At hindi dito dapat kinikilala yung pagpapalit noong nakaupong mahistrado tulad nga ng sa ordinaryong kaso. Kung yun nga, criminal case, ang kapalit at ang parusa pagkamatay o kung may death penalty o habang buhay na pagkakakulong. Tuloy-tuloy. Ano pa kaya ito na administratibo lamang? Ibig sabihin, wala itong kulong, wala itong parusang kamatayan. Pagkakatanggal lamang sa pwesto at pagbabawal na humawak na anumang pwesto sa gobyerno.
Okay, Amor, and then RG.
Sir, sabi niyo ipapatawag lang si VP Sara pag kinakailangan. Pero what if gusto niyang magsalita, sir?
Walang
Pwede.
karapatan po niya yun. That is part of the rights of an accused under the Bill of Rights to confront his or to confront the witnesses against her. Karapatan po niyan, mag-attend araw-araw, kada hearing, magsalita bilang abogado. Dahil pwede siyang tumayong abogado para sa sarili niya o tumayo pa nga bilang testigo. Umupo bilang testigo. Pwede po yan. Nasa sa kanya. Pero hindi siya pwedeng piliting tumestigo sa kaso because it will violate, on the other hand, the right against self-incrimination. Kumbaga, hindi siya pwedeng patawag ng prosecution at pwersahang paupuin doon para tanungin kung ayaw niya. That cannot be done.
Sir, yung nangyari kay CJ Corona nun, pwede rin po ba o gagawin nyo ng rules to na magsi-statement lang ayaw niya ng Q&A?
Hindi pwede. Dahil sangayon sa rules of court that is suppletorily applicable to impeachment to the impeachment trial, may karapatan mag-cross-examine ang kabilang panig sa sino man testigo ipepresenta ng kabilang panig. So pag nagpresenta ng testigo ang prosecution, may karapatan i-cross-examine yan ng depensa.
I mean, sir, si VP Sara, kung just in case
No,
parang
kung sino man nga, karapatan yan ng kabila. At kapag ka hindi na subject sa cross-examination, hindi admissible yung testimonya ng testigo.
Sir, Sir, pag just in case naman daw ipatawag nyo, kailangan siya, pero hindi siya dumating, meron bang kaparusahan pag ganun?
The impeachment court, very much like the Senate, more so in fact because it is an impeachment court, has the power and authority to issue subpoena. May kapangyarihan nga kami mag-issue ng subpoena.
Sir,
At sangayon sa rules, yan ay pwedeng i-issue lamang either sa pamamagitan ng botohan o kung babaguhin yung rules, sa pamamagitan lamang ng kautusan ng presiding officer.
Sir, may certain period ba para tapusin yung impeachment trial o pwede itong pang matagalan?
Wala, pero sino ba naman na may gustong umabot ito till kingdom come? Wala naman siguro may gusto nun. One way or the other, kailangan ito pagpasyahan at desisyonan. Ulitin ko, nang hindi minamadali, pero hindi rin naman pinagpapaliban ng labis.
Okay, Amor and then RG.
SP, kung matuloy po yung impeachment trial nga this 19th Congress, ang sabi niyo po possible na umaga, plenary session, and then hapon, yun pong impeachment trial. So sir, paano yung time dun sa mga pending bills and offhand? May mga nakikita po ba kayong mga bills na pwedeng maapektuhan ng lack of time dahil matatapos na nga po yung 19th Congress?
Maliit na lamang ang epekto kung meron man. Dahil pagbalik namin sa June 2, 6 na session days na lamang ang meron namin. So, 6 na session days na lamang apektado nung AM-PM schedule na binabanggit mo. At kung mako-convene nga yung impeachment court sa panahong yon, magre-recess na rin kami makalipas ang 6 na session days. So, yung balance ng mga araw na yun hanggang June 30 ay puro trial na lamang yun. Dahil hindi na kami pwede magsesyon.
Ano ba kayo, sir, bills na nakikita
Hinahabol?
dapat ihabol pa?
To name a few that comes to mind. Number 1, yung Konektadong Pinoy. Number 2, na BICAM na-approve na on third reading by both houses. Yung e-gov bill na hindi umabot yung ratification ng Bicameral Conference Committee report dahil may ilang pang concerns ang executive branch. Kasi nga, ayoko nang may nabibito Ayoko may binabalik sa BICAM So, hanggat maaari nakikipag-coordinate kami closely sa executive kaugnay sa mga panukala batas na pinapasa namin. Pangatlo, yung right sizing bill. Tatalakayin din namin yan. Pang-apat ay yung Virology Act na ibabayagam during the recess. Ito ay pagpapalakas ng ating Virology Department para sa ngayon ay kung magka-pandemya muli, mas kaya na nating i-handle ito. Again, to name a few, those would be at the top of my mind.
Yung wage hikes.
Yung?
Wage hike.
Hindi, yung mga binanggit ko, lahat nasa LEDAC. Yung wage hike, hindi ko alam kung magiging prioridad yan ng Kamara o hindi. Pero kung maalala nyo, ulitin ko, nagpasa kami ng wage hike, mahigit 1 taon na ang lumilipas, 100 pesos. Ang pinasaya ng Kamara, recently lang. Pero ang ginawa ko ay inappointan ko ng bicameral conferees lahat ng mga bill na pending. Para sa gayon ay, kung sakasakali, mapag-usapan yan. Maliban na lang kung sinabi ng Kamara na hindi sila interesado dyan.
Okay, RG. Ay, okay ka na, Emma?
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, kasi kanina sabi niyo you will review the signature. So,
No, the secretary
the
will...
secretariat will review
Huwag naman na ako yun.
the secretary.
Ayoko.
Oo nga, 200 yun. But sir,
Hindi, may app pa. We will be using several apps to be able to detect and check. Minsan, by the naked eye, kita na kung e-sig o wet signature.
okay sir, after kung halimbawa mangyari nga talaga that the earliest action of the Senate will be after or by June
June 2.
2, maraming pwede mangyari within that time. The complexion of Congress might change because of the elections. Since napag-usapan na naman natin yung hypothetical kanina,
So, hypothetical tayo ulit.
is it also possible na the next Congress, the House, can withdraw the complaint?
Yes. Tulad lamang na anumang complaint na inihain sa korte, pwedeng bawian. Halimbawa, criminal case man o civil case. Gitna ito o administrative case. Pwedeng i-withdraw na nagrereklamo ang kaso sa anumang panahon. Sa kaso ng Kongreso, it has to be withdrawn by more than 2/3 para hindi umabot dun sa 1/3 requirement. Ngayon, kung tatanungin mo, paano yan? Nagkaroon na ng jurisdiction yung Senado Pwede ba bang bawiin yun pagdating ng panahong yun ng panibagong Kongreso? Isang bagay yan na pagpapasyahan ng impeachment court pagdating ng panahon by a majority vote if they disagree with the ruling of the presiding officer. But your question was, I take it, pwede bang gawin yan ng Kongreso? Yes, they can do that. Pero kung may epekto ba yun na actual na i-withdraw, pagdedesisyonan ng impeachment court yan at ayoko pangunahan.
So possible, sir, na kahit i-withdraw, kung mag-decide yung Senate na ituloy,
Once pending na sa korte, lahat ng gagawin ay desisyonan ng korte at
Korte.
hindi pwedeng pagpasya ng isang panig lamang.
Okay, before Mab, sir, may nagpapatanong, although na-explain nyo na ito before, paano daw kung ma-impeach or ma-convict dito sa Senate si BP Sara, paano daw yung pag-appoint ng papalit sa kanya?
Sang-ayon pa rin sa saligang batas tulad ng nangyari matapos ang EDSA 2 nung pumalit si dating Vice President Arroyo kay Pangulong Estrada. So yung Vice President naging presidente, naging bakante yung Vice Presidency. Nag-appoint si Pangulong Arroyo mula sa Kongreso, Kamara at Senado. Ang requirement ng edad Ang lahat ng requirement para maging senador at kongresista at vice-presidente, presidente ay pareho, maliban sa edad. Ang kongresista 25, ang senador 35. Ang requirement para sa vice president and president 40. So pwedeng pumili si Pangulong Marcos ng kongresista o senador na ang edad ay 40 years old and above. Matapos niyang pumili bilang kanyang nominado, pagbobotohan niyan by a majority vote ng magkabilang kamara, House at Senate. Voting separately. Simple majority, voting separately. Ano?
You are highly qualified.
I don't think there's a senator below 40.
So sir, qualified ka nga.
No, hindi ako. But lahat ng senador ay qualified at yung mga mambabatas na 40 and above ay qualified. Yun yung pool ng qualified na mga taong pwedeng i-nominate.
Kung i-nominate ka sir, open ka na maging vice president.
Ayokong pag-usapan yan because it's unfair. We will be sitting as an impeachment court. Pero sa totoo lang, mamaya sabihin ko sa iyo kung bakit ko ayaw.
Yung pagbubotohan ng House and Senate, what if hindi ba ako ng majority?
Alin, kung ayaw, and then deemed rejected, pili sa nung bago.
Di ba?
Kailangan i-confirm Pag hindi kinonfirm ng Kongreso voting separately by a simple majority, hindi siya, pili uli ng bago.
Nangyari yan kay VP Bingo na
Pero kinonfirm ng hindi ni-reject.
Oo, in-appoint siya and then...
A simple majority confirmed the nominee of then President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo.
Okay, Mark.
Hi, SP. I understand you clarify na kanina na
Yeah,
maaaring
please.
20th Congress na po yung the
Yes.
eventual ending. No? But working under the scenario na under the 19th Congress, we have 23 senators. So 2/3 of 24 seats po ba yung vote to convict or 2/3 of the 23 current?
Ayan.
Still of 24 because always favorable to the accused.
So
So there's already one favorable vote in the 19th Congress sa impeachable officer because that officer cannot vote in favor of the impeachment to comprise 2/3. 16 pa rin.
Sir, yung length ng impeachment depende sa mga evidence at sa proceeding. Wala namang certain dapat 3 months tapos na yung
Wala akong balak ilagay na cap, walang cap sa rules, pero gaya ng sabi ko, through judicial affidavits, bagong rule ng Korte Suprema yan sa Rules of Court, and a stricter, longer, more complete pre-trial brief. Hindi magtatagal naman siguro ng ganun katagal, lalo na continuous trial talaga ito. Day to day, we will conduct the trial.
Monday to Friday, Monday to
Depende na ulitin ko sa magiging rules ng Senado. Pero nung kay Corona ba, Monday to ano ba yun?
Thursday. Oh,
Parang okay
pahinga
naman.
ng Friday.
Basta hindi naabot ng Sabado at Linggo yan. Kung ang teleserye nga hanggang Biyernes lang, di ba? Huwag na natin paabutin ng Sabado at Linggo.
Sir, yung
O
pre-trial.
naman, tumatawad ka na ng 4 days. Yung kay Corona. So, hindi nalalagpas ng teleserye 5 araw sa isang linggo.
Yung pre-trial, mga ilang araw lang yan, sir.
It will only last for a few days. Actually, even 1 day kung nagkakasundo na sila. Given the amount of time involved, itong panahong to, hindi lamang Senado ang dapat na mag-aral, maghanda. Ang dapat sana mag-aral at maghanda rin ay yung magkabilang panig. Let me give notice to both sides. Both the prosecution panel and the defense panel of the defense team of the Vice President. They have sufficient time to prepare and study for this. So, hindi naman siguro katanggap-tanggap, hindi lamang sa amin, sa mata ng publiko, na pagbigyan anumang delay, na hindi sila handa, walang testigo, hindi handa yung ebidensya, dahil itong panahong to, dapat ginugugol na nila para gawin at kompletuhin yan.
Pati yung impeachment judge, sir, dapat mag-aral.
Well, kahit naman ako naghahanda, magbabasa uli. Ang tagal ko nang hindi nagpa-practice. Matagal-tagal na ako hindi nakakapag-appear din sa husgado. Nagbago na rin yung rules on evidence. Gagamitin ko rin itong panahong to para magbasa muli, to brush up on my rules on evidence, the Supreme Court decisions on the rules on evidence. At nang magampan na namin yung aming tungkulin ng may buong katapatan sa probisyon ng batas.
Okay, Mav, and then Ann.
Sir, sorry. In case po na senator yung ma-appoint at ma-confirm, do you operate on 23 senators lang? Paano kung
Point to ma-confirm, what do you mean?
kunwari po, piliin ni
Magboboto
Presidente, tapos ma-confirm siya ng Kongreso. Sir, ano lang, hypothetical lang.
Layo mo na, ha?
Yes, sir.
Layo mo
Hindi,
na,
kanina,
darling,
sir,
ha?
kasi napag-usapan na po yung kapalit.
Layo mo na nga, darling, ha?
Oo. And sir, kapag po kasi kunwari,
Senador
nagkaroon
na
ng
po.
hatol na parang by July, ganyan. So sir, isang buong Congress na 23 lang kayo, ganun.
The decision to call for a special election is to be decided upon by Congress. Ang pagtatawag ng special election sa anumang bakanting pwesto, congressman o mayor, vice mayor o senador ay desisyon ng Kongreso. Bakit? Kailangan kasi mag-appropriate ng pondo para sa special election na yon. At hindi basta-bastang nagagawa yun. Sa kaugnay naman ng COMELEC, meron silang pondo. There are times, may mga taon na may pondo sila for special elections. Pero may mga taon na wala. So kung may pondo sila to conduct special elections, COMELEC can do it on its own by basing it on a resolution either from the House or the Senate to fill that seat. Pero madalas sa madalas, in practice, hindi po ginagawa dahil may quorum pa naman ang Senado. Hindi naman makakaapekto sa quorum. Marami na rin nabakanteng posisyon sa House sa pamamagitan ng pagpanaw ng mga mambabatas. Hindi na nagpapatawag ng special election ang Kamara. Bihira magpatawag. So based on the resolution, pwede magpatawag ang COMELEC kung may pondo sila. Kung wala, kailangan talaga ng isang batas para magpatawag ng special election.
Okay. Sir, sorry, may pahabol na
Yes,
lang
ma'am.
lang po yung desk ko. Kanina, sir, yung kung hindi po atin si VP Sara, tapos pinatawag siya dito, pwede siya isubpina.
Yes.
Should she ignore the subpoena? What happens?
Subpoena is a compulsory process, meaning to say she can be compelled to attend. Like what we do with respect to witnesses in the hearings of the Senate. The Sergeant at Arms, with the assistance and aid of law enforcement officers, may effect the compulsory order for her to appear.
Mag-issue ng
in plenary.
warrant of arrest, sir?
But I heard a comment of Vice President Estrada that she welcomes this in order to present her case. So, VP Duterte, sorry. That she welcomes this. Sinasabi ko?
Estrada.
Sorry. VP, but I heard a comment of VP Sara in connection with the looming impeachment complaint to be filed against her that she would welcome it as an opportunity to present her side of the story vis-a-vis the accusations being hurled against her by members of the House. So I hope that will indeed be her position.
So, kung mag-change yung kanyang stand, hindi nga siya mag-attend kahit may subpoena, possible yung pag-issue ng warrant of arrest.
Merong subpoena lang. Hindi pa naman warrant. Subpoena is enough.
Kung hindi pa rin nga siya mag-attend.
Again, a subpoena is a compulsory process. The Sergeant at Arms and law enforcement officers can enforce the subpoena.
Okay, may and then Cecil.
Sir, yung pre-trial ay mangyayari pag na-convene na? O pre-trial
Under our rules kasi, wala pa yon. Kasi wala pa naman noon eh. So, pag sa amendment namin ng rules, nilagay na yon, pwedeng pagpasahan ng 19th Congress na payagan na yon sa ilalim ng 19th Congress. Dahil nga, yung presiding officer, sang-ayon sa aming rules, ay may kapangyarihan to take proper order of the subject matter of impeachment.
I mean, it should happen, yung pre-trial, pag na-convene. So, June 2 onwards pa rin.
Hindi kailangan nga ma-convene eh. Kasi, ang magulo pa siya eh. Kung isipin mo, convene, susumpa, tapos susumpa uli.
Sir, basic to. Ano po bang laman ng pre-trial?
Nakalagay doon, yung mga ebidensya nila, yung bilang ng testigo nila, at nakapaloob doon yung judicial affidavits nila. Kumbaga, halos wala ng direct examination. Dito na napanood nyo sa Corona trial na, so nung petsang to, nasaan ka? Nakalagay doon yung kwento niya, ipapa-identify na lamang sa kanya yung kanyang judicial affidavit. Ikaw ba talaga gumawa nito? Pirma mo ba ito? Lahat ba na nakapaloob dito ay totoo? Cross-examination na diretso.
So,
It will abbreviate the proceedings. Mas mabilis ang proceedings. Ngayon, may nakasaad din sa rules of court na yung mga testigo at ebidensya na hindi mo binanggit dyan, hindi mo na pwedeng ipresenta pa. Maliban na lang kung nadiskubre mo lamang nitong makalipas ang ilang araw, ilang oras na wala pa, hindi mo pa alam nung ginawa mo yung pre-trial. So, may mga ganon. So, in a way, nalilimitahan niya yung pagpapatagal na maaaring gawin ng magkabilang panig.
Basically, the pre-trial is just a submission of yung nga mga affidavit,
Yes.
which
and-
could happen before the convening.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. If the rules will authorize the presiding officer to issue those, kabilang na yung pagpapasagot kay VP Sara, kabilang na yung pagsasabit ng reply ng mga prosecutors. Lahat ng bagay na ito, hindi pa to trial can be done already under the 19th Congress, lalampas ng konti sa 20th Congress, pero yung trial mismo talaga, magsisimula ng 20th Congress. Except again, kung sa rules ay sabihin na pwedeng mag-receive ng evidence through commissioners. Yung 12 may iiwang kasi ginagawa na rin ng korte yan ngayon eh. Pwedeng tumanggap na ebidensya ay may iiwang 12. Trial na rin yun in a way. Dahil tumatanggap ka na ng ebidensya through commissioners, quote unquote eh. Not the whole court. If that will be decided upon by the majority.
Sir, safe pa rin sabihin that the impeachment trial mag-uumpisa ng 19th, itutuloy ng 20th,
Yes.
hatulan ng 20th.
Yes.
Tama, okay.
Yung paghahatol, pagpapasya, 20th na.
Okay, sir, isa na lang sa akin. Sir, paano po yung mga hindi lawyers na mga magiging senator judge? Dapat bang mag-aral sila? May mas extra effort pa sa kanila dapat?
Oo, dahil yung abogado nga mag-aaral eh. Ako nga mag-aaral eh. So lahat kami dapat mag-aral. Pero kung susuriin nyo, ilan ba ang abogado din naman ngayon sa 19th Congress? Ako, Senator Pia, Senator Alan, Senator Tol, Senator Coco. There are 5.
So sir, itong impeachment indication na gaano ka-importante ng mga lawyer ang lawmakers.
Hindi naman kailangan abogado kasi nga hindi naman kailangan maging abogado kasi naman kahit nga abogado mag-aaral pa eh. Baka mamaya mas malalim pa yung pag-aaral nila kaysa nung sa abogado na akala niya alam niya na lahat, di ba? So, hindi naman nangangahulugan.
advice them, sir, na mag-aral itong break na to?
Yes, to start, especially those who will remain until the 20th Congress because they're not up for re-election. Siyempre, yung mga tumatakbo pa lang, asikasuhin na muna nila yung kampanya nila, okay lang yun.
Okay, RG, and then Cecil, and then Georgia.
Sir, as a politician, how will you describe yung political context habang nakabitin tong issue ng impeachment for the next few months? I mean, can you imagine having a campaign with this and then sabi nyo aabot ng 20th? Can you imagine having a SONA, the budget hearings with this looming, hanging over everybody else's heads?
This is a legal constitutional process. Hindi natin dapat to ikatakot o ikabahala. May election man, wala mang election, may SONA man, wala mang SONA. Ito'y constitutional process na tinalaga ng ating saligang batas para mapayapang maresolbahan anumang hindi natin pagkakaunawaan o para magawa yung gusto nating magawa. Or mahadlangan yung ayaw nating makita mangyari. We should not be afraid of this. If this will be an election issue, then so be it. Hindi ba maganda yun? At least may valid election issue na pwede mo talagang tanungin sa mga kandidato. Na pwede pagbasihan ng ating mga botante kung iboboto nga ba nila o hindi. Ang partikular na kongresista o senador. At least yung dalawang pwestong yun man lang. At least it will be in a way issue-based. At hindi nakabase lamang sa personalidad. So we can look at it positively too, in a way, given that there is an issue we are facing in time of during election and campaign season.
So magiging election issue nga ito, sir. Kasi after election pa yung start.
I think it will be. And given what I said, that it's the 20th Congress that will actually decide on this, both the prosecution side and the impeachment judge side.
Sino magbe-benefit kung maging election issue ito, sir? The public?
Definitely the public. Sino ba naman ang tatalikod, tatagit, may ayaw sa isang issue-based election kumpara sa isang personality-based election?
So makaka-apekto ito sa magiging voting yung decision ng...
Ngayon, ang problema lang, siyempre, issue siya, so tatanungin ng mga tao. Kung boboto kita, anong boto mo sa impeachment? Di ba? Sa kabilang banda, kailangan maghunos dili naman din sila. Kasi para pa kami nag-trial, kung may desisyon na agad sila, hindi pa nga napapakinggan yung ebidensya. So, siguro panawagan ko na rin to dun sa mga tumatakbong senador bilang isa sa 12 maiiwan, hindi bilang tagapangulo ng Senado. Bilang isa sa 12 maiiwan na maghunos dili din naman sila. Ang pinakamaganda siguro pwedeng masabi ay tatayuan nila kung anong tama, nararapat, na ayon sa hustisya, batas at ebidensya. Kung saan man siya ituro nun. Sapat na sigurong kasagutan yon kesa, pag ako nanalo, acquit talaga yan. Pag ako nanalo, convict talaga yan. I hope they will avoid those things. But then again, I cannot control the passions of a campaign speech, especially during election time.
Okay, Cecil and then Jojo.
Sir, can we say na under jurisdiction na ngayon ng Senate yung CBP since na-transfer na yung impeachment case?
VP herself, no. The subject of impeachment,
Yes.
yes.
And second, yung physical preparation.
Because the only time a court acquires jurisdiction over the person of a respondent, accused, or defendant is when she files her answer or in a criminal case when she is arraigned. So, on her person, hindi pa.
Anyway, second sir, yung preparation when it comes to robes and other
At least may mahabang panahon kami, 3 buwan para magpasukat.
kamukha din nung ginamit ko dun sa kay Chief Justice Corona, yung naka-robe and naka-parang gala na gano'n. Purple. May sinasabi ba
Okay lang naman yung robe, wag lang yung isama yung wig.
So talagang robe, sir. Yan ang isusuot nyo.
Hindi, pag-uusapan pa rin yan. Ayokong pangunahan. Pero, sa palagay ko, saganang akin. Pero ito yung pagbabotohan ng mayoriya. Importante pa rin yung robe, ika nga, para lamang mapaalala sa kada senador na sila'y nakaupo hindi bilang legislator, kung hindi bilang impeachment judge. If only to constantly remind them while they're there, seated, in the same seat that they usually sit in, that they are there as impeachment court judges, not as ordinary legislators. If only for that. Kung ako tatanungin, mas gusto kong meron.
nasa rules ba kung ano yung color and others?
Wala. Sa pagkakalam ko, wala.
Sir, unfair daw yung walang wig, sabi niyo ba?
Ano?
Unfair na walang wig.
Okay, Jojo.
Sa ibang jurisdiction o bansa kasi may ganon yung mga maestrado eh.
Okay, Jojo.
Yes.
Sa iba na marinig mo na magkakaroon ng free trial and then yung mag-start ang impeachment trial at Brigade Congress na cross-examination ba kagad na yun?
Posible. Ayokong sabihing safe gawin dahil pagpapasyahan pa lamang yan ng mga miyembro ng Senado pagbalik namin ng June 2. Pero yung mga option na to, ipepresenta at ilalahad namin sa mga miyembro para makonsidera at mapagbotohan pagdating ng June 2.
Yung ba isa sa magandang option para mas mapakadali matapos ito?
Ulitin ko, hindi namin to ginagawa para madalian. Yan ay nakapaloob sa rules of court na suppletorily applicable na kailangan naming ibagay sa proseso ng impeachment na kakaiba sa isang civil, administrative o criminal case kung saan sumasaklaw yung rules of court. So, pagpapasahan yan ng Senado pagbalik namin. Pero lahat ng options na to ipe-present namin sa kanila.
Okay, last 3 questions from Poca.
Uy, ubusin nyo na para hindi na wala ng interview pagkatapos nito.
Thank you, Sally.
Bakasyon na eh.
Sir.
Yes, of course.
Good morning.
May bisita pala tayo ngayong umaga.
Medyo marami ko.
Yes.
Sir, you perfectly remember the moment when that envelope was not opened during the impeachment trial of
Era.
President Estrada.
I was a congressman, yes.
Yes,
I
sir.
remember that. I was not here.
Yeah, I'm sure that you totally want to avoid such a volatile political impasse. But how?
By maintaining the credibility and impartiality of the impeachment court. which is what I'm trying to do beginning today. Again, without fear nor favor, nang walang pinapaboran, nang walang kinikitilang karapatan, gagampanan namin yung aming tungkulin. Pero sa dulo, sang-ayon kasi sa rules on impeachment. Kaya di ba si Senator Pimentel noon ay nagbitiw, kung tama pagkakaalala ko. Dahil under the Constitution, ang uupo bilang presiding officer talaga kapag ini-impeach ang presidente ay Chief Justice. Hindi naman talaga, wala namang co-presiding eh. Wala rin namang majority leader ang impeachment court eh. Ginawa lamang nila noon yun eh. Kung talagang korte yan, Chief Justice ang presiding officer sa presidente pag in-impeach. It's the Senate President that presides in relation to other impeachable officers, Vice President down. At ang proseso ay, anumang order initially will be decided upon by the presiding officer. If a member disagrees, he can stand up, question it, or object to it, pagbobotohan ng plenaryo. Yun yung proseso. Masunod man o hindi yung gusto ng nakararami, yun ang desisyon ng korte. Ngayon, pwede rin desisyon na ng presiding officer kung ayaw niyang magpasya. Sasabihin niya, ayokong magpasya dyan, ibabato ko sa plenaryo. Kayo mag-decide. Kung ano man ang maging resulta nun, yun ang susundin ko bilang presiding officer. Sang-ayon man yan o taliwas sa gusto ng mas nakararami. Yun yung proseso eh. Actually, they had no choice at that time but to follow the majority.
Sir, follow-up.
Yes, please.
Sir, the matter of shifting an impeachment case from the 19th to the 20th Congress, we heard your position, but can that be questioned and clarified with, for example, the Supreme Court?
Of course, they can do that. Pero unahan ko na rin, kung gagawin man nila yan, maliban na lamang kung may temporary restraining order na i-issue ang Korte Suprema kaugnay nito sa transition na ito, magpapatuloy ang trabaho namin, 19th o 20th Congressman yan, at hindi pwedeng gamiting rason dahilan o palusot yan nino man, prosecution man o respondent na may nakabingbing kaso. Basta't walang temporary restraining order. Yun lamang ang pipigil sa Kongreso na magpatuloy sa proseso ng impeachment.
Okay,
Pero karapatan po nila yun.
Okay, last
Pero
question.
sagutin ko rin siguro, pero para sa akin, so may 1-year ban, gagawin uli, lalong tatagal, lalo tayong maghaharap sa iba't iba. Hindi ba gusto na magkabilang panig? Kabilang na impeachment judges ha? Hindi ba natin gustong lahat na matapos ito? One way or the other. And I think it's in everybody's interest.
Teka, last 2 question na lang tayo.
Hindi, okay lang.
Sige.
Okay lang, basta wala nang interview pagkatapos ito.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
SP, good morning. Michael Flores po sa Reuters. Marinaga tabi.
Sining man.
Sir, you mentioned that as Senate President, you have the power to set the agenda for during plenary, and it was asked earlier that and you mentioned that it's possible na you can convene as an impeachment court should the President authorize a special session over another matter. So, as Senate President, will you include that in the agenda should the President decide to hold a special
Again,
session?
if the Secretariat is ready, yes, it will be included in the agenda, but it's not my sole decision. It will be voted upon by plenary. You're not usually with us on a daily basis, except for today, perhaps because of the impeachment complaint. Everything we do, although it's not being objected to, it seems like it's an order being issued by me. Everything we do is subject to the vote of the majority. So kung wala nag-object, ibig sabihin, bumoto silang lahat pabor doon. If someone objects, then we have to put it to a vote. But these things are decided upon by plenary, not by the presiding officer alone.
Sir, may patanong, yung daw bang verdict ng impeachment court can still be appealed sa Korte Suprema?
As far as I know, no.
Final na yun, sir.
It has been tried, I think. I forget the ruling. For having committed grave abuse of discretion or something, but I think the Supreme Court dismissed it. Again, if my recollection serves me right. But I'm not sure.
Okay, from Bloomberg.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. Senator, I have a non-impeachment related question. About
One of the laws we passed?
yes, I think so.
Finally.
It's a bill that you authored, I believe, about that bill on
Mining.
Yeah, exactly, prohibiting what's the status of that, sir, and has it reached the BICAM?
I think we passed it on third reading, but the period is 10 years, not 5.
Ba't nakalagay dun?
5 ba o 10? Alam ko 10 eh.
5.
5 ba?
Yung effectivity after 5 years pa.
5 ba?
5 ba nakalagay?
Hindi ba in-amend na 10? Pakicheck
5
na lang.
years nakalagay.
Sa bill o sa in-approve namin?
Oo. Yung
Pakicheck.
effectivity ng ban, parang 5 years after.
5 o 10? Hindi ko na maalala eh. Ano bang...
Pero hindi sa kita namin, PR. Kapag din nakita namin, sir. Pero, sir,
But the reason for that mining ban is this. Again, why reinvent the wheel if it has been reinvented? We're looking at Indonesia. Ginawa ng Indonesia, nag-impose ng mining ban within a certain period. Now they have several processing plants. 4, I believe. The Philippines is one of the richest mineral-rich country in the world. We are 3rd or 4th mineral-rich country in the world. So mineral-wise, the Philippines is actually a rich country pretending to be poor. The problem is, which is why I filed a resolution to investigate it during the recess, yung mga exploration permit at MPSA na ini-issue, ang daming hindi ginagamit at tumatakbo. Ewan ko sa DNR kung bakit hindi nila nire-revoke. Non-use is a valid ground for revocation. Hinahawakan lang to ng kung sino-sinong nung nakapwesto ay kinuha lahat para lamang ibenta, wala naman silang puhunan para talaga i-explore. Again, we're a mineral-rich country pretending to be poor. If this is done, I believe this will be a game changer for our country. If we will have processing finally here in our country. For those who are concerned na 5 years is too short, then convince us and ask for 7, 8, 10. But don't tell me we don't need this. Don't tell me you don't want this for your country. Don't tell me you don't want this for the Filipino. Biro mo yung iron ore, yung copper, yung nickel dito minimina, tapos dadalhin sa China, sa ibang bansa, ipoprocess, tapos bibili natin ng mas mahal dahil yung value added ginawa doon, galing dito yun. Diba? Mawa na tayo sa bansa natin. Sa dami ng batas na pinasa natin para sa mga negosyante, pasa naman tayo ng isa kahit pa paano. The entire fiscal mining bill favors mining companies to make it easier for them, more attractive for them. Ito naman yung sukle. Makapagbigay ng trabaho sa Pilipino, value added at buwis dito, kesa galing na lamang sa ibang bansa palagi, yung finished product o value added product.
okay, follow up.
Yeah. So 5 years, Senator. So the BICAM will likely be held in June na po, no?
Actually,
the break,
I'm
then.
hoping it will be done during the break.
During the break.
Para pag-resume namin, ma-ratify namin.
And the mine
Nakalimutan ko pala yun sa mga bill na binanggit ko.
Oo nga.
And the
Ikaw pa
mine-
naman nag-sponsor.
and the mining companies will have a chance to maybe make an argument, no, to extend it.
Of course, I've heard their arguments actually.
Okay.
I've talked to most of them already because they sent position papers already. But again, I will also appeal, if they want to appeal this, I want to appeal to them too. Don't talk to me about removing that provision. Touring naman yun eh. Talk to me about hindi kaya ng 5, pwede ba 7? Hindi kaya ng 7, pwede ba 8, 10? But don't tell me we don't need this. Don't tell me that we should not do this. Because that is clearly wrong and un-Filipino.
So, sir, once implemented, may estimate magkano yung additional income at additional job opportunities ang mabibigyan nito?
Wala, kasi wala tayong malaking steel plant dito. Sinasabi nila palagi may problema sa kuryente. Noon yun. Former President Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., believed that no country without a steel industry will ever industrialize. And if you look at every other country in the world, except for Singapore perhaps, given the limited territory they have, we need to have our own steel industry. Ang typical na sinasabi nila, mataas daw ang presyo ng kuryente rito. Darling, kaya mo yan. Kaya mong iyan yan.
Okay.
Nawala.
Wala tuloy. Sorry.
Mataas yung presyo ng kuryente, pero hindi naman with solar, with renewable, these issues can be addressed. So I hope, again, I'm hopeful because this is clear there's no vested interest behind this proposal. The only interest behind this proposal is the best interest of the Filipino people and the nation for us to develop finally as a country.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
Buena Bernal of CNA Channel News Asia. Can we get an English soundbite on? So the elections were gathered.
Hirap yun, Yes, please.
These signatures at the House were gathered pre-election, where, as you know, political influence is high because of the carrots that could be there. Now, unwittingly or otherwise, the Senate, you say, post-elections would be the impeachment trial court. But now, because that's a constitutional process, and there are quarters who say that this is political vendetta, can you talk about the Senate, this body where you are a leader, being a political tool to affirm what experts have described as a core problem in Philippine politics, which is personality politics?
It cuts both ways. I will try to English as best as I can. It cuts both ways, remember. You referred to carrot politics, but given that it's election time, those who signed may have been blinded by that. I'm not saying that they were. But what about those who did not sign? Weren't they motivated by politics as well? It is a political process. So it's unfair to accuse only those who signed of politics and not those who did not sign. They were both engaged. In politics. And as I said earlier too, given that we're only translating what I said earlier in Filipino, remember? And as I said earlier too, I think it's an opportunity, given that it's election time and campaign season leading to the 2025 elections, that we actually have a chance of this being an issue-based election, at least insofar as members of the House and members of the Senate are concerned. With the admonition on the part of the members of the Senate, for them not to be too partisan with respect to saying what their judgment will be should they win and become an impeachment judge. I hope this will be asked by voters in debates, what their position is or will be, and let that be the basis of the judgment of our people, whether or not to vote for them in the coming elections.
In relation to a bill passed in this body, can you talk about the importance of creating a defense economy, a local defense economy in the Philippines, especially given the situation in the West Philippines?
You're talking of SPEDEZA.
Yes.
Given the situation in the West Philippine Sea and given our dependence on our allies for our own defense, I think this is the first step towards being self-sufficient with respect to being able to defend ourselves. Instead of simply borrowing missile systems from other countries, perhaps we can also start doing our own R&D for ourselves, uniquely applicable to our situation, given that we're the only archipelago, as I understand, in the world. Add to that the fact that it will provide jobs and hopefully export opportunities to other countries of whatever may be produced within the Philippines.
Okay, last question.
Medyo nag-overheat ako doon,
Japanese
Yes,
Kyoto
please.
News, Sasaki.
Sa ilong lang.
Okay, go ahead.
I wish to ask you about the proposal of plebiscite in Sulu. The adjournment of Senate means that you think you don't need to make an urgent decision of the potential plebiscite before the Bang election in October.
Sir, I have a problem with that bill, actually. Why? The main reason why Sulu was excluded from BARM to begin with is a Supreme Court decision that said, you've asked Sulu so many times already, and it was only until they said yes that you stopped asking. That's why Sulu was removed from BARM. And here we are asking them again. Didn't we read the Supreme Court decision? And what is the impact, if at all, of the Supreme Court decision on this new law again that we're passing? So it might be begging the question, given the Supreme Court decision already. So we need to study it further. Whether or not the Supreme Court decision actually bars us from asking them again, which we have done 4 or 5 times already, which is one of the main reasons for excluding. Remember, the Supreme Court said, among others, you've asked them several times whether or not to join, but you didn't ask anyone who already joined if they want to leave. That's unfair. That's wrong. So the counterpart measure of this would be, we can ask Sulu again, but will we ask the others if they can leave? These things should be studied at the risk of passing an unconstitutional law once again.
Okay, another question from Pokat.
Pam po from AFP. Sir, just to clarify, you've mentioned po na pag-uusapan ang rules during the recess. So, tatanong ko lang po kung meron bang specific timeline on that.
None. The deadline would be on June 2 when we resume. What we will be doing essentially is I will be instructing the Senate Secretary, Senate Legal, in consultation with some experts in the legal field that we might get as outsourced resource persons to draft amended rules, updating it with respect to the rules of court, and answering some of the gaps discovered during the Corona trial. Most of the officials at that time are still here. And make the corresponding recommendations during the recess, send them to the members of the 19th Congress so they can study it, evaluate it, refer it to their own consultants so that we can act on it and vote upon it when we resume.
Okay, last question from JV.
Isa lang po.
Yes, sir.
Okay po. Ayun, given the marami pa tayong kailangang ihabol na bills, sapat na
Actually,
po ba?
konti na lang, mga 7.
Konti na lang. So are you
Mga 7.
Okay, sorry po. So are you confident na from June 2 to 13 may papasa natin, ma-ratify natin, or gusto nyo sana magkaroon ng special session?
I am hopeful we can do it within the 6 session days. Why? Even if it has not yet been approved on second reading. No. Even if it has not yet been reported out in committee. If they do that during the recess, we can report it out on Monday. Remember, we have 6 session days. We can report it out on the first day, sponsor it on the first day or on the second day, subject it to interpellations for 3 days. No, I'm sorry. For 1 day, approve it on second reading, and with a 3-day notice, approve it on third reading. If we extend sessions on a Thursday, we can do more. If the President certifies it as urgent, then we can dispense with the 3 days. So, I am very hopeful that yes, we can. With the assistance of the Executive, if it is a priority measure, we can abbreviate the process and pass certain other bills that haven't even been sponsored on the floor in the 6 remaining session days that we have, while at the same time acting on the rules on impeachment.
Okay, sir, pahabol na lang. According to Senator Amy Marcos, ayaw niya ng impeachment, ayaw niya ng destabilization, ayaw niya ng gulo sa ating bansa. Ang reason, ang dami na daw problema, mataas ang presyo ng bilihin, naghihirap ang mga Pinoy. So, impeachment ba at destabilization ang solusyon? Nakakahiya. Bagkus daw na harapin ang dumaraming tunay na problema ng bansa. May basis po ba yung kanya?
I respect her decision, especially given that she's a re-electionist that should be focusing on sharing with our people her position on these issues, which she's exactly doing. However, it is now a reality and a fact, whether we like it or else. Nasa amin na yun. At meron kaming trabaho at constitutional duty na gampanan nito. Ang panawagan ko at ang sisikapin kong gawin, gaya ng sabi ko, tiyakin na ito yung magiging patas, parehas, na ayon sa batas, walang kinikilingan at walang pinapaboran. Higit sa resulta, ang importante ay kapanipaniwala at may kredibilidad ang proseso. Iyon ang aming tututukan at bibigyan ng pansin.
Pero yung gano'ng statement, hindi makaka-apekto sa kanyang pagiging impartial or fair as impeachment judge.
She was talking of the impeachment process. Not, again, okay lang naman sabihin, bakit ba? Sana wag na lang. Karapatan niya yun.
Okay.
Wala naman siyang binanggit o sinabi kaugnay sa boboto sa pabor o kontra dun sa nasasakdal.
Okay, on that note, thank you so much, Senate
Uy, wala nang
President Jesus
interview
Cadero.
pagkatapos
No
ito,
more.
ha? Wala
Tapos na. Shout out.
Sound check.
Final, it was transmitted to introduce House Deputy Majority Leader and Iloilo 3rd District Representative Lawrence Defensor, House Assistant Majority Leader and Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adjong, and one rider party list Representative Rods Gutierrez. We hope after the press conference, some of your concerns and issues are answered and they can provide clarity to the issues about the impeachment complaint. So before I call the first reporter who will ask the question, let us allow our honorable guest to give their short opening remarks. Sir Lawrence.
Good morning, everyone. Magandang pagkakataon ito na maliwanagan ang ating mga kababayan tungkol sa impeachment complaint na ifinail. It was transmitted to the Senate yesterday, and I hope that this will be a good opportunity for evidence to be presented by both sides para matapos na po ang mga aligasyon at mabigyan ng liwanag ang sambayanan. Maraming salamat po.
Kong Sia.
Well, I'm also blessed to share this table with two of our prosecutors, Congressman Lawrence Defensor and Congressman Rods Gutierrez. Ako po ay nakikiisa sa aking mga kasama po dito sa House of Representatives na ito pong pagkakataon na ito, itong umagang ito, na maliwanag, tama nga yung sinabi po ni Congressman Noel Defensor, maliwanagan at mapag-usapan ang isang bagay na sa ngayon ay pinaka-importanteng issue na ng ating sa publiko at ating sambayanan. So I'm happy to be here with you to join these two prosecutors, and I am looking forward to answering all your questions later on. Marami pong salamat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Congrats.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. I understand this is a very momentous occasion for everyone and there will be a lot of questions. It's understandable, and we'd like to take this opportunity to clarify any concerns that you may have. We understand as early as yesterday, with the news breaking out, there was a lot of disinformation, a lot of confusion, and we hope to clarify some of that. Although we'd like to limit, hopefully, to avoid speculation po, no? Mahirap na po yung mga haka-haka. So we'd like to stick to the facts, and we'll do our best po to answer your questions. Thank you for this opportunity po.
Thank you, sirs. For today's first question, may call on Tina Pangliban Perez from GMA 7.
Good morning po, sirs. Senate President Chis Escudero said that Congress has to be in session for the senator judges to take their oath. So, ibig sabihin po, sa June pa po tayo mag-i-impeachment trial. Now, my question is primarily for the prosecutors po. How will that affect your preparations? Will there still be strategizing during the break? Also, hindi ko naman po sinasabing matatalo kayo, but what if one of the 11 prosecutors could not make it to the 20th Congress? Baka umabot sa 20th Congress yung trial. Also, is that possible that the trial will continue into the 20th Congress?
For sure, and definitely our preparation will continue. We will continue to strategize how to approach the trial. Magkakaroon po tayo ng information campaign din para sa ating mga kababayan para maintindihan nila ang proseso ng impeachment, to simplify it so that every citizen can understand the process. Igihan po natin, no, na planuhin ang bawat article of impeachment na malatag ng simple, klaro para sa sambayanan at sa mga magiging husgado sa Senado, while the impeachment complaint has been transmitted to the Senate. And the Constitution provides that once it has been received by the Secretary General of the Senate, trial should proceed forthwith. We will respect the institution of the Senate, how they will interpret forthwith, no? Kung gaano kaaga nila aktuhan ito, we will respect that. Pero sana matuloy lang ang paglilitis na ito because this is the perfect opportunity for all parties, especially the Vice President. This is the perfect opportunity for her to be given due process, for a chance to lay down the evidence in her favor and to clarify things during the trial. Kung tatanungin po ninyo, kung June na magbubukas at magkukonvene ang Senado as an impeachment court, at kakapusin ng oras, tatawid po ba ito sa susunod na Kongreso? It is possible, and yes, we will leave it to the Senate and to the rules of the impeachment court because what adjourned yesterday was our legislative calendar. Ibig sabihin, natapos po ang pag-exercise namin ng aming legislative power as Congress and as Senate. And an impeachment process is a sui generis or a class of its own. Kakaiba po itong proseso and it's not part of the legislative process. Nasa Senado po yan, how they interpret that. And since it is not part of the legislative process, pwede po nating sabihin they can convene anytime that they are ready without waiting for session to open on June 2. And since it is not part of the legislative process, their rules may state that it may cross over to the next Congress. I heard the Senate President's interview earlier this morning, and he said that they will prepare first, and we respect that, and they have to update their own rules of impeachment, and we also respect that. So we leave it up to the Senate as a separate body and as an impartial body to be judges in the impeachment court how they will proceed with the impeachment process. Raj?
Sir, sorry po. Baka lang gusto niyo nang sagutin, sir, yung what if one of the 11 or some of the 11 will not make it to the 20th?
Yeah, Raj. Sure.
I believe po, like sinabi po ni Kong Noy, that would really depend on the Senate and their rules. But as far as I guess we understand that it's just a position that is elected, and should there be a change in the composition, because we have to understand the Senate is a continuing body. The House of Representatives is not. If ever we have a new composition to the 20th Congress, then I think they will just elect a new set of prosecutors, if ever. It does not stop the process. As Kong Noy mentioned, sui generis, this is a special instance of a constitutionally mandated function of Congress. So I think patuloy pa rin naman po yun.
Tama si Congressman Rodriguez, and it would also depend on the Senate rules of impeachment. Kung meron po tayong isang kasamahan sa House of Representatives na hindi papalarin at hindi makakatuloy sa 20th Congress, if the Senate rules on impeachment will provide that private prosecutors can participate during the impeachment trial, then maybe they can continue as private prosecutors. So it would all depend on the impeachment court once they convene and they set forth their rules of impeachment.
Dadagdag ko lang po, no, sa mga dalawang prosecutors po natin. I think the Constitution speaks about the Congress, the House of Representatives tries, and then the conviction is on the Senate mandate po, no, according to Constitution. But sa pagkakaalam ko po, the process of the impeachment is not, it's not really tied up with particular members sitting in a particular Congresses. That's why it's very, kumbaga kung titingnan nyo po sa Constitution, it's the Congress. So meaning to say, it's the institution that tries and convicts. Number two, as far as the impeachment or the Senate convening into an impeachment court, tama nga po yung sinabi po ni Kong Noy at saka ni Kong Rog, that would depend on the rules that they would adopt. Because since magkukonvene po sila sa impeachment court, nakita po natin during the time of former President Estrada and former Chief Justice Corona, they have adopted their own rules. So maybe that's the reason why Senator SP Chis Escudero is trying to convey to the public that they're preparing because they need to adopt first yung kanilang rules. Para sa amin po dito sa House of Representatives, we really respect the position of the Senate. Para naman po sa amin dito sa House of Representatives, we have established yung constitutional mandate po dahil may 3 pong complaints na binigay po sa atin dito. Pangalawa, yung urgency po ng complaint na ito. As long as we did our job and we have we have shown to the people that indeed the issue on impeachment complaints that were transmitted or that was endorsed to us, yung 3 complaint, were given primacy in credence and were given also their due value. So yun po yung ginawa natin dito. Pinakita lang po natin na when it comes to issue of impeachment, the dictation of the Constitution is of top priority of the legislators here in the 19th Congress.
In addition po, Ma'am Tina, in addition also to the answer of Kong Noy in relation to the preparations of the House, as we mentioned, the House will not shy away from its constitutional duty. Verily, we have already initiated the impeachment complaint as mandated by the Constitution. And in addition to that, we will not shy away from the preparations too. As we speak, the House leadership is already preparing the impeachment secretariat. So we will be prepared if ever the Senate does indeed interpret that they could proceed with trial as early as March. We will be ready. If they decide that it will continue after June 2, well, we'll be even more ready. So yun na po siguro.
Sir, follow-up ko lang po yung impeachment secretariat. Who will compose that and what will their duties be?
To answer that po, no, it's still not clear. Of course, it's been a while, but the impeachment secretariat will cater to all the needs that the House would have in relation to the sui generis proceedings. So anything, I think it would be from the top down regarding logistics, regarding support. It should be separate from the legislative function of the House. So that's all that we could say po siguro at this moment.
Thank you po, sirs.
Thank you, Tina. Let us move on to the next question from Net25, Big Samintak.
Good morning po. Just a quick follow-up lang po. Among the 11 congressmen prosecutors, may we know who will be the lead prosecutors?
We leave it to the leadership of the House, who will be the lead prosecutor, and we will respect that. And we're fine with anyone who will be chosen as lead prosecutor.
Thank you, Big. Bibian Gulia from ABS-CBN.
Good morning, Kongs. Tama po ba yung intindi ko sa mga answers ninyo kanina? Okay lang po sa inyo na June na mag-start after the elections yung trial. There's no call to hold the trial during the break?
Since the Constitution provides that trial shall proceed forthwith, if we interpret forthwith, dapat po sana as soon as possible yon. But since the Senate is an independent body, and we respect their independence, being a bicameral legislature, we will leave that to the interpretation of the Senate. I will refuse to comment on how they should act because they will be judges in this impeachment trial. And we accord them with the utmost respect and that they should act with utmost impartiality without any influence from the prosecution or from the respondent or the defendant. So, sana po maagapan ang pagsimula kasi the sooner that the evidence can be laid down, the sooner that due process can be exercised, the sooner can the issues pending before us can be resolved. So, sige po, sana po maagahan dahil handa naman ang prosecution team.
But, sir, so as you mentioned, it's written in the Constitution that trial should proceed forthwith. But can you point us to a specific rule lang po or part of the Constitution where it states that the Senate can hold the trial even when Congress is on break po?
When you say forthwith, hindi nakasabi doon kung saan sa Constitution na pwede may break. Every year before session opens, every legislative Congress, kunyari 19th Congress, the Senate Secretariat and House Secretariat together with the duly elected Speaker, inuupuan muna nila yung legislative calendar for that year. While it's not clear whether we can proceed with the impeachment trial during the break. We said earlier that the impeachment trial is a sui generis, o kakaibang proseso po ito. It's a class of its own. And it is not bound by the legislative calendar. It's purely a political question on how Senate would proceed with it. So, yan po ang sagot dyan, no? Hindi po nakatali yan sa black and white. And we will see how the Senate would react on and act on the impeachment complaint.
Sir, baka lang din po meron kayong comment dun sa sinabi ni SP Cheese na unfair na madaliin sila dahil 2 buwan daw po inupuan ng House ang impeachment complaints.
Well, again, we respect the position of this the Senate President. In fact, it has been discussed, explained naman po ni Congressman Noy that they have their own rules. We don't want to at least influence the impartiality ng mga senator judges. We will just wait for the Senate to convene as an impeachment court. Sa amin po, as long as we have already relayed and we have displayed the urgency and the priority that we have established that these impeachment complaints should be given primacy and should given priority, it's up to the court, no, the impeachment court, the Senate. When will they convene as a impeachment court? So yun lang po yung amin. There's no prescriptive time naman po. Prescriptive time na sinabi po sa Constitution that once it is filed, once it is transmitted to the Senate is bound to, for example, a certain number of days to convene as an impeachment court. So it's up to how the Senate will define and will act on the wordings of the Constitution na sinasabi po shall act forthwith. As far as we are concerned, we take that as immediate and urgent.
Okay. Sir, doon naman sa mga prosecutors, paano po yung hatian, Division of Labor doon sa 7 articles of impeachment? Sinong congressman ang mag-handle ng specific articles po?
As of the moment po, wala pa pong assignments po of which prosecutor will be handling which articles. I think this is something to be discussed further down as we form the full impeachment secretariat po.
Your reaction din, sir, na parang yung ibang mga kamag-anak ng ibang senador ay hindi po pumirma doon sa impeachment complaints. Parang doon sa mga kamag-anak, 3 lang po yung pumirma. But most of them hindi po pumirma doon sa complaints. May implications po ba ito on the... Well, how would you interpret that?
I hope you'd understand we'd refuse to comment on that po. Especially that given that these are our colleagues and we respect their opinion, every representative has the right to conduct themselves as they see fit for their constituents. But one thing's for sure po, the numbers are very clear. This is more than 1/3 required. There is a supermajority, so to speak. Yun na po yung impeachment complaint po natin.
Just to add, legally, it will not affect the impeachment complaint. It will not affect the impeachment trial. And cold neutrality of an impartial judge by the Senate and members of the Senate would be better preserved siguro kung may ganyan.
I-add ko lang, it just goes to show na yung mga lumalabas po na mga fake news at mga rumors na merong sa pilitan, na merong nagkakaroon po ng pag-influensya sa ating mga miyembro, ito po ay nagpapatunay na ang bawat isa po sa amin ay nagdesisyon base ho doon sa kanilang pag-appreciate ng merits ng complaint na ito.
Last na lang po. Your comment, sinabi raw po ni Duterte Youth Party List Chairman Ronald Cardema alleges funds for later release were promised to the 215 lawmakers who signed the 4th impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte.
Again, kaya po ang TRICOM ay nagko-conduct po ng investigation at inquiry in aid of legislation dahil po precisely because of these rumors and this chismis and this fake news na lumalabas po doon sa ating lipunan. Wala pong katotohanan sa mga sinasabi na ganyan. We would like to again to focus on the impeachment complaint. Ito po ay diversionary tactic na ginagawa po ng mga tao o grupo na ina-assail po nila yung integrity ng House, yung merits nung kaso o nung complaint na ipinasa po natin, pinasubmit po natin sa Senate. Gusto ko lang pong ipaabot sa ating mga kababayan na we should be focused on the complaints, on the articles of impeachment. Wag tayo magpapadala at maniniwala sa mga diversionary tactics na ginagawa po ng ilang grupo po. Kaya nga po tayo inaagaran natin na magkaroon po ng batas para ma-regulate po natin at mabigyan sa solusyon itong mga fake news po na lumalabas, disinformation, malinformation, and misinformation po na lumalaganap sa ating lipunan. Isa na po itong mga balitang ganito.
Thank you. Next question, Krisa Subing-Subing from Inquirer. Go ahead.
Hey sir, slightly different question naman po. Can you give us an inside story po on how the votes were mustered yesterday? Kailan po nakuha ng mga mambabatas po yung or kailan kinonsolidate, kailan binuo yung fourth complaint, and paano po nag-gather ng support to endorse the complaint?
Well, admittedly, this is a long time coming po, no? Each congressman, although there was no talk of impeachment, they have already formed their own opinions from the hearings of the Quadcom and the Good Government committees. And I guess this was, accumulated into the first three impeachment complaints po, no? But the first three did not gather consensus. It did not gather momentum needed. And while the most congressmen, especially the members of the Justice Committee, were eagerly awaiting po to fulfill our mandate by hearing it in the Justice Committee, I believe the party leaders po have already thought of finding consensus between the three. So they took the best parts, took out the parts that they feel were not agreeable to other members, and that was what was presented. And finally, yesterday, it resulted in the impeachment po, the initiation of the complaint.
There were party consultations, and considering that there were three previous impeachment complaints filed, nakabuo ng mas matatag at mas klarong impeachment complaint na nakakuha ng suporta at kumpiyansa ng mga congressmen. That is why with this fourth impeachment complaint, which is clearer, where the evidence is presented in a stronger manner, it gave confidence to more than 200 or 215 congressmen to act as complainants in this impeachment complaint. So unti-unti pong nabuo at getting the best of the three previous impeachment complaints as earlier said by Kong Rog.
Idagdag ko lang po, no, simula po nung tumanggap po tayo ng mga complaints, 3 pong complaints ito, impeachment complaints, wala pong choice ang miyembro ng House of Representatives kundi bigyan po ng pansin itong complaints na ito because it now borders our constitutional mandate. It's a question of whether we act based on our constitutional mandate na mabigyan pong pansin itong complaints na ito. Number 2, ang alam ko po hindi lang 215, meron din pong mga miyembro na nag-submit po ng kanilang mga signatures, no? Kung titingnan po natin na nasa 225 na po kung di ako nagkakamali. But the signatures that appeared to be initially published in the media at saka yung nalakap po natin ay 215. Those are the members who were physically present during yesterday's filing of the fourth complaint. Meron din pong nagpa-abot ng kanilang suporta or sa complaint na ito. Although I don't know how they would be able to be included in as complainants to amend the 215 to make it 225 kung di ako nagkakamali. But that would depend on, I guess, on the court, on the Senate acting as impeachment court, whether they would allow such amendment to the complaints, number of complainants.
May follow-up lang po. Sir, kailan po nag-start yung mga party consultations po on consolidating the fourth complaint, impeachment complaint po? And does that mean that essentially the congressmen have already made up their minds even though President Marcos himself has signaled na ayaw niya pong ituloy yung impeachment process because madi-deprioritize yung mga priorities ng Marcos administration?
We thank the President for respecting the separation of powers and respecting the independence of Congress. And we also respect the decision of the executive department. As far as party consultations are concerned, it's been ongoing since the first impeachment complaint has been filed. Internally, depende sa partido. Depende sa kanilang approach kung magtatanong sila internally kung may pabor ba sa impeachment, ano ang klase ng articles of impeachment ang nakakarapat. That is why nabuo itong fourth impeachment complaint where there is a consensus of more than 200 members who signed kasi mas malinaw itong impeachment complaint at mas matatag ang paglatag ng mga articles of impeachment.
Thank you, Krisha. Next question from Billy Vegas of Abante Politico.
Kung may mga kumakalat sa social media, may kapalit daw na ayuda yung pagpirma.
Well, as you mentioned po earlier, no, that's why we had this press conference because we understand with the events of yesterday, a lot of misinformation and disinformation will be spreading around. Categorically, we're going to, I don't know, it actually dignifies this answer, but we're going to have to categorically deny such allegations in the same way deny yung allegations po from the chairman ba yun, na may FLR. This was an independent action. We believe that's done faithfully and truthfully by each member, that they signified their intention and support of the impeachment complaint based on the merits of the case and nothing more. Yun lang po siguro.
Just to add to that, no, ito po ay nagsimula na po ang smear campaign sa prosesong ito. Actually, ako personally, I actually expect that a lot of misinformation and fake news will be coming out, no, after the filing of the complaint, no. So ang gusto ko lang pong i-reiterate at panawagan sa ating mga kababayan, wag po tayong madadala sa ganitong klaseng fake news. Kasi ito po ay paraan para ilihis kung ano po yung talagang merits nitong prosesong ito. Yung mga complaint po, meron pong betrayal of public trust, meron pong mismanagement and yung utilization ng pondo ng bayan, meron pong issue dito na whether as highest or second highest official of the land would be allowed to contract an assassin to kill a sitting president, the Speaker of the House, and the First Lady. Yun po yung mga nandoon sa articles of impeachment. So gusto ko lang pong ipanawagan sa ating mga kababayan, kung meron po tayong nababalitaan ganito, ito po ay mga diversionary tactics. Ililihis po nila yung attention natin doon po sa proseso and at the same time to smear, to degrade, and to put question in our mind na ito pong prosesong ito ay hindi tama. Yun po ang gusto nilang ma-achieve sa mga ganitong fake news at misinformation na lumalabas.
Kung I understand kung babanatan kayo ng mga critics, kaya lang meron kasing post dito si Congressman Lord Alsuan. Ang sabi niya, to my supporters, I know you stand with me. Rest assured na you the scam.
Well, yes, kanina pong umaga nakausap po namin si Congressman Lord Alsuan. Unang-una po, dinideny po niya categorically na hindi po yan totoo. Isa po yan sa paraan na sinasabi ko nga mga fake news. In fact, I would personally expect na meron pong lalabas din na mga balita tungkol sa akin. So ito po, sabi ko nga po, simula po nung nagkaroon tayo ng impeachment process, unti-unti pong lumalabas ito na pinipreempt nila po yung magiging resulta nito at dinilihis po nila yung atensyon ng ating taong bayan. I would personally say that Congressman Lord Alsuan is one of the most decent members of the House of Representatives. Hindi po niya ugali na kung basta-basta lang siya maglalabas ng ganong klaseng information na alam naman po niya na po pwedeng makasira sa kanya. Number 2, wala pong katotohanan yan, yung mga ganyang balita na meron pong ayuda na kapalit. Ito po is ng constitutional obligation na binigay po sa amin ng Constitution. Hindi lang ho ito prerogative, hindi ho ito discretionary power. Ito po ay mandato at obligasyon ng bawat isang miyembro ng Kongresong ito para ipabot sa Senado na kung meron mang hindi magandang gawain ng isang opisyalis specified under the Constitution, the President, the Vice President, Ombudsman, Chief, mga Justices of the Supreme Court, COMELEC. Andun po, enumerated po yung mga official na to. Kung meron pong complaint galing sa ating taong bayan, remember, 3 complaint po ito, wala pong choice ang membro ng House of Representatives but to hear and make sure that these complaints will see the light of the day.
May dagdag lang po, no? And this is setting aside yung impeachment issue po muna. I'm speaking not as a prosecutor, but as a member of the TRICOM. As mentioned by Kong Zia, this just highlights the importance of the hearings that we are conducting there. This is a prime example of how misinformation and fake news are used not only to disrupt the personal lives, but the public functions of our government now. So I hope that yung sa ating mga kababayan, we continue to be vigilant and to really double check and fact check po, no, all of these informations coming out, kasi lumalabas po fake statement, fake page, yun lang naman po.
Idadagdag ko lang po sa mga fake news peddlers, tatayuan po namin ang obligasyon namin at mandato po binigay sa amin ng konstitusyon, no matter what you do.
Maybe this is a good time also to thank kaya magtulungan po tayo to maintain integrity in media, maintain integrity in journalism, because you will be our partners in transparency and in accountability.
Again, gusto lang ho namin balikan yung sinabi po ni Congressman Noy Defensor, no. We respect the timeline of the Senate. We respect their decision when they will convert the institution into impeachment court. But we also expect these senator judges to be impartial.
Likewise, I just echo the statement of Kong Zia that we trust and believe in our center judges, and that we trust that they would maintain that cold neutrality that would be required to properly and faithfully dispense with their functions as senator judges po.
Thank you. Rosalie Cas from UNTV, you're recognized.
Good morning, Kongs. Magduel lang po ako dun sa timing. Bakit po itiniming yung pong endorsement ng more than 1/3 ng House members ng 4th impeachment complaint? At ito nga po yung sinasabi ni SP Cheese na hindi pwede sa kanilang isisi yung pag-aksyon sa impeachment complaint dahil last session day nyo po in-endorse yun pong 4th impeachment complaint.
As one of the prosecutors, I won't point fingers to anyone. Na-transmit na namin sa Senado at we won't put pressure on the senator judges, and we won't put pressure on the Senate to convene as an impeachment court. It's just that the Constitution provides for the trial shall proceed forthwith. And ganun lang po, kasimple para sa amin as part of the prosecution. And that's what's stated in the Constitution, and we're not saying minamadali namin sila.
So, ibig sabihin po, wala rin kayong anumang plano to compel the Senate, for example, maghain ng mandamo sa SC?
I have no idea of that move on the part of the House of Representatives. At personally, kahit ako, hindi ko gagawin yon to force the Senate. Rog, do you want to say something?
Well, no, I only have to agree. This is we can't speak for everyone, but I think everyone would agree. This is something that we will absolutely not do. We respect the Senate. Although we have the constitutional mandate to initiate the impeachment, the trial itself is a mandate of the Senate, and we respect that. And we look forward to the release of the rules po and how they will go about it.
Another question po. Total nababanggit nyo naman rin po yung diversionary tactics, pero one of your colleagues, si Representative Ungab, said diversion daw po from the real issue na 2025 budget controversies, yung impeachment versus VP Duterte. Ano po yung take nyo dito? And sabi niya rin po ay futile exercise na raw po dahil when Congress resumes on June 2, 6 session days na lang po ang meron at sinetiya na po on June 13.
Congressman Sid Ungab is one of my most respected colleagues in 18th and 19th Congress. This is not a diversionary tactic to avoid any issue. We continue to urge those who want to investigate other matters regarding Congress and the budget. In fact, there are pending cases before the Supreme Court regarding the constitutionality of the budget. We are doing our constitutional mandate to act on the impeachment complaints. And we are also very careful that we will be acting on the proper, the appropriate, and the strongest complaint before we transmit that to the Senate. And since 215 members have already signed, it only goes to show that the confidence of the members of Congress in this impeachment complaint is very strong. So patuloy lang po ang pag-iimbestiga ng ibang bagay at ng ibang tao. At we will continue to do our duty as prosecutors and as Congress.
Dadagdag ko lang po, no? When a public official became true to what he or she yung acting on the oath that he or she takes, that's not diversionary tactics. That is expected of him, and maintaining and upholding the rule of law. Alam po natin dito na merong complaint na prior to the the second mode, I guess, ang ginawa po natin yesterday. I think that's a third mode, no? When we gathered all the signatures, no, yung 1/3 of signatures, it's not really diversionary tactic. It's acting on these complaints and upholding what is given to us as part of our obligation by the constitutions. It's not really. We should not be faulting anybody or any members of the House of Representatives to be true to what he took as oath of office, to be true to the Constitution and to act on what the Constitution expects of him or her when there's a valid complaint submitted before the House as far as impeachment of these highest or high officials enumerated under the Constitution is concerned.
Last follow-up na lang po. Nagkaroon ba ng chance yun pong 215 na mambabatas na pag-aralan po yung fourth impeachment complaint? Kasi we understand kahapon lang po sila pumirma, kahapon lang din po sila nanumpa. Tama po ba? They sworn tungkol dun sa impeachment complaint. Dahil meron din pong allegation si Representative Pulong Duterte na ni-railroad po yung impeachment against VP Duterte.
Nabigyan sila ng kopya, nabasa nila yung impeachment complaint bago sila pumirma.
In addition lang po, no, as Kong Noy mentioned, there was also party consultation, so they were actually part of the crafting of the complaint. So from the start to the finish po, our members have been informed.
Gusto lang po natin emphasize, no, 215 members of the House are the complainants. So wala pong, ito pong proseso na ito ay nandyan po sa ating saligang batas. Hindi po railroading. That's just what is one of the ways on how to forward impeachment to the Senate, no. Wala pong railroading. It's laid down in the House, in the Constitution, that once you secured a 1/3 of complainants from the membership of the House of Representatives, then it goes directly to the plenary.
Thank you. We will take a question now from Marian Enriquez of TV5.
Good morning po. Follow up lang po ako dun sa questions nila Ate Rose and Ate Vivian regarding nga po dun sa statement ni Senate President Jesus Cordero na yun nga, medyo unfair daw na 2 buwan po nating inupuan dito sa Kamara. Ito po nga mga impeachment complaints. So I just wonder po what really happened doon sa 2 buwan po ng since December may party consultations, I understand, and hindi nyo naman po minamadali no, kung kailan po sila magko-convene, and understandably, June pa, kasi may session. Pero wala po ba kayong regrets na tutuluyan din naman po palang i-impeach si VP Sara, pinaabot nyo po sa last session? Were there any regrets? What happened po really? Like, naka-apekto rin po ba? Ano yung influence, of course, of the President, may mga considerations like the elections, the campaign. Baka pwede po kayong mag-share ng sentiment niyo.
No regrets because we filed the best impeachment complaint there is. And we leave it to the Senate for them to study it, for them to prepare their rules, update their rules of procedure for the impeachment trial, and we leave it to each and every senator to study the impeachment complaint and the articles of impeachment. Kaya po sinasabi namin na kahit tumagal sa amin ay nabigyan naman ng panahon ng mga partido na magkonsulta at magsuri, and we will give that same opportunity to the senator judges once they convene as the impeachment court. It's just that it's the Constitution, not Congress, who says that the trial shall proceed forthwith. That is why when the Senate President said that we will study the complaint, we will update our rules, and we will prepare, we will respect that.
I agree po with Kong Noy, and in addition po, I just think the personal opinion po, I can't speak for everyone, but I think that the Congress is just trying to stick to its duty, constitutional mandate, in that it is the initiation of the complaint is lodged with Congress. We want to come up with the best complaint possible. The timing, I guess, would be not irrelevant po, It would be coincidence. It's not deliberate. So we've just taken the most time that we can. It is really a process of consensus building and coming up with the best complaint possible. So any insinuations of deliberate timing, I think, would just be a coincidence.
Sa akin lang, I'm not part of the prosecution, pero no regrets. We're simply ready.
Thank you. Dwight Dilon from Rappler.
Hello po, good morning po. Just more on the inside story of what happened. Sino po yung nag-coordinate nung caucus kahapon? Tapos paano na-coordinate yung meeting na yun?
The party leaders.
And also po pala, who drafted or who helped draft the complaint, the fourth complaint?
Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to answer fully po, But from our understanding with the same parties, it would be our party leaders po. For example, in my case, I was contacted by the PCFI. So I think it's the same po with all of our other members. So the answer would lie with them po.
Okay po. And what was the prevailing sentiment among lawmakers who did not sign? I understand you can't speak for, let's say, the people who are closely allied with the Dutertes who have been vocal for a few months now against impeachment. Pero sa lakas, there were at least a dozen lawmakers who did not sign the impeachment. Sa NUP, I think there are some. Sa PCFI, parang mas mixed yung division between people who signed and did not sign. Ano po yung prevailing sentiment? Bakit hindi nila pinirmahan? Were they taking into consideration kung in the coming elections, dahil syempre there's a possibility of upsetting the Duterte base?
Well, first of all, for those who did not sign, it did not affect or it will not affect their standing as members. Wala kaming masabing masama sa kanila. Maybe it's safe to say that for those who did not sign, there are personal dynamics within their jurisdiction kung bakit hindi sila makasign. Maybe there are personal relations that they took into consideration whether they will sign or not. And we respect that. Marami kaming pumirma, marami din naman silang hindi pumirma. Kaya masasabi mong walang pilitan at walang regret ang hindi pumirma, wala ring regret ang pumirma.
Naging factor po ba yung INC block vote? Kasi last month po they held a rally opposing the impeachment of the Vice President.
In all our districts, especially sa party list kasi national ang kanilang coverage. We will continue to serve as members of the House. We will continue to provide service and assistance as government officials to every Filipino, whether they are Catholic, they are INC, whether they are from Mindanao, Visayas, or Luzon. Personally, it did not affect para sa amin. This is a judgment call as part of the House of Representatives, as lawyers, that there are serious and grave grounds to consider an impeachment trial. Kaya po pumirma ako. It's part of my duty to participate in an impeachment trial where there is a clear violation of the provisions of the Constitution, especially if there is betrayal of public trust and high crimes. Kaya yun lang po ang naging konsiderasyon and nothing else.
And last na lang po from my end, why risk the possibility of being challenged at the Supreme Court, especially since while you have this view that the Senate can conduct a trial on break, it's not like a universal view. Of course, that will be the Duterte camp might exhaust all possible avenues to delay the trial. Kakatok sila sa Supreme Court. Why did you not siguro wait until next Congress na lang bago i-initiate yung impeachment complaint? Why is this so urgent?
I have been part of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments since my very first day in Congress. And every opportunity for Congress or Senate to elevate an issue to the Supreme Court gives us more clarity when the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution. Not only in amending the Constitution, but in interpreting impeachment proceedings under the Constitution. If this move by the House of Representatives to file the impeachment complaint and transmit it to the Senate and see if it can pursue an impeachment trial even during the break, if this will be challenged before the Supreme Court, we welcome it, so we will settle this issue once and for all.
From my end, this legal recourse available to the other parties should not be a deterrent for the House to act on its constitutional mandate. So, yun po yung aking palagay na hindi po, sabi nga po ni Congressman Noy Defensor, na if there are high crimes, violations, especially kung yung first three articles, culpable betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution, these are high crimes. I think, tapos couple that with an actual complaint submitted and endorsed by members of this House, I think the House should not be tied up with how the other parties would, as a matter of legal recourse available to them, na tied up kami doon sa magiging response ng other parties. So, focus lang po ang House of Representatives doon sa pagbibigay liwanag at pagbibigay diin at pagbibigay primacy consideration doon po sa mga final na mga impeachment complaint dito po sa House of Representatives.
Just to add lang po, no, and I agree with si Kong Noy, just to reiterate, the timing is a consequence of consensus building and building a proper case that most congressmen would see fit to be filed as a basis of the impeachment complaint. That the timing now would lend itself vulnerable to any challenge. I agree 100% fully with Kong Noy. We have to pursue our constitutional mandate to file this complaint, and we eagerly anticipate any clarification that the Supreme Court may provide on this matter.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Yanes Kapanti from GMA Online. You have the floor for your question.
Hello, sir. Good morning po. You mentioned po kanina this impeachment complaint is a long time coming. So, would you say that this impeachment of the Vice President is a logical conclusion given what you've discovered during the House inquiry?
Personally po, no, I can't speak for everyone else, but I believe I mentioned that it's a long time coming. We all had our own personal opinions that came out of, for example, in Quad Committee and the Good Governance committees. But personally, as an active member of those committees, I feel that this is culmination and vindication of the findings that we have had there.
I guess this is a logical conclusion of what we have been discussed during those previous committee hearings, that the end result would be this, the actual filing of the impeachment complaint.
This is also a logical conclusion of the actuations of the Vice President herself. Nobody told her to go live on video and say that she has contracted somebody to kill the President, the wife of the President, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That is a direct threat to the life of the Chief Executive, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, as well as the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So clearly, as a Vice President, you do not do that to the President if you are to succeed, if that happens. This is clearly a betrayal of public trust and a high crime as considered by the framers of the Constitution. Mabigat po ito. This is a grave and serious offense to the Constitution.
Follow up, sir. Balikan ko lang yung sa sinabi ni Senate President Escudero, kasi pinoint out niya na you took time in deciding on the impeachment. As far as you're concerned, kailangan bang kumilos ng Senado at the same pace of the House of Representatives when you have different functions? I mean, the House clearly is for the prosecution and the Senate is for trial, and then he compares it with you. I mean, yun ang kanyang indication na why would they move why would they move quickly when you took time, when you have do you think it's a logical comparison given you have different mandates in this case?
Yeah, you're right. It's not comparable. As a lawyer, we always follow the court. We always follow the judge. If the judge will reset your case next week or next month for hearing, you follow that. Diba? And we will do that with the Senate. If the Senate says that we will convene at this hour, at this day, as lawyers for the prosecution, we will follow that. And we will respect that.
Thank you. Tina Pangaliban Perez from GMA7.
Sir, additional question lang po from my office. Just in case po, kasi we know naman in the rules that prosecutors are elected by the body. So, ano po yung criteria na ginamit po ninyo, and will those same criteria be adopted in the 20th Congress?
Well, we can't really speak for the criteria. It's in general. I think it's not an exact criteria po, no? Kasi wala naman po sa rules, wala sa Constitution. But as you can see, they've selected congressmen with relevant experience po. I think the first and the most obvious would be being members of the bar. And how it's, like I mentioned, it's not an exact criteria. It's just how we were elected. And may we hear the second part of the question po ulit? Is this the consequence of the 20th Congress?
If same will be adopted in the 20th?
Well, it would really depend. I don't think it could be the same. It would depend on the 20th Congress. If there is a new composition, and if ever there will now be criteria in the rules, then that would be followed. But there's no assurance po that there would be the same process po.
Sir, of the 11, did anyone volunteer to be a prosecutor?
To volunteer, none that I know of, none that stepped forward. We were elected by our peers, and we accepted it as our constitutional duty. But again, I cannot speak for the other prosecutors. I'm only assuming that the experience would be the same as mine.
Idadagdag ko lang po, no, kasi siyempre alam ko po itong dalawang kasama ko dito, isa sila sa mga humble na mga members po ng House. Ang nabuo po na prosecutor, lahat po magagaling, ang mga abogado na mga miyembro ng House. Ito po sa mga prosecution team, ang gagaling po nila ng mga litigator. Yan lang po. Kasi alam ko hindi nila sasabihin yun.
Thank you. Let's call on Red Mendoza from Manila Times.
Hi po. I know na medyo mabibigat yung mga tanong ko. First off, kasi I know that the Dutertes are very, very much popular, and they still are very much popular. So, of course, it's election time, 2025, especially malapit na yung campaign season, and I'm seeing posts on social media na yung ilang mga pumirma ng impeachment complaint, tinatanggalan na yung mga mukha nila sa mga posters nila dahil sa galit nila sa impeachment. There is a considerable blowback against doon sa mga pumirma, doon sa mga prosecutors and all. So, do you, on your opinion po ba, kayo mga pumirma, would it affect your electoral chances sa 2025 election given na the people still support the Dutertes and of course, sa inyo may mga kalaban na pwedeng gamitin yung mga kalaban ninyo as a leverage against your bids?
Well, if someone from Mindanao, alam ko po yan. Naintindihan ko, hindi ko lang naintindihan, nararamdaman ko po. Pero tama po yun, once you're elected to an office, you are expected, not only by the Constitution, by the people to act on a certain ways. No? Kailangan, you have to maintain and uphold the integrity of your office. And similarly, we expect our fellow public servants to do the same. Ito pong sa impeachment case na ito, nasabi po kanina ni Boss Noy na there are serious offenses, high crimes committed by a certain, by the Vice President. So we cannot turn blind eye and be more concerned about the possible backlash that it may cost us politically. Of course, that's a consideration. Sino ba naman po ang hindi nag-iisip ng ganun? But this is already an issue of being a public servant. Secondary line yung pagiging politician. It's a value judgment call, sabi nga ni na paano mo ihaharap ang sarili mo sa mga tao na sasabihin mong bawal ang mag-threat sa kapwa-tao. Much more kung isang sitting presidente. Paano mo ihaharap ang sarili mo at sabihin mo na dapat walang korupsyon sa bansa? Paano mo ihaharap ang sarili mo na bawal mag-bribe sa tulad nating kawani ng gobyerno kasi gusto lang natin makuha kung ano ang ninanais nating resulta? Paano natin iharap ang sarili natin sa ating taong bayan na sasabihin mong kung ang mandated na isang ahensya ang magbigay at mag-audit tapos binigyan ng mandato ng isang konstitusyon ang isang ahensya para kunin ito at suriin kung paano ginasta ang taong bayan, sabihin mong sabihin mong dapat i-uphold yun. Paano namin iharap? Ako lang, I'm not speaking for the entire membership of the House. Paano ko iharap ang sarili ko sa aking mga botante? If I turn a blind eye and just simply concern myself with the possible popularity that I may get if I associate myself with who is popular and who has the tendency or the capacity to give me votes in the election. Hindi naman ho maganda sa isang serbisyo publiko na for the 3 years being a congressman na naelekta sa opisina na yun, na nagsumpa ka sa saligang batas, harap ng tao at harap ng Diyos, na itong mga ethics na dapat sundin ng isang serbisyo publiko ay babaliwalain mo lang just because you are more concerned of the popularity that you may get or the votes that you may get. Paano ho namin para sa akin, paano ko po iharap ang sarili ko sa aking mga botante if I turn blind eye on these high crimes that were committed blatantly under the sun, no? Kumbaga parang so much blatantly that we cannot even ignore to a point that I can no longer turn a blind eye on these allegations and just simply brush it off simply because I am from Mindanao. I think it's time for us to be more circumspect in really trying to approach the issue when it comes to a certain area na sasabihin natin na hindi to pwedeng gawin ng isang publiko na dapat ang magiging basis natin yung pagiging Pilipino natin
rather than yung pagiging regionalistic po natin. I think it's high time that we should approach the issue based on our being patriotic as not just as a public servant but as a Filipino, because we are all of us are expected to uphold the Constitution, and it's our civic duty to promote yung decency in public office.
Kong Lawrence.
There certainly will be consequences to every elective official. But if I did not sign this impeachment complaint, and if I did not accept the election as prosecutor, coming from Iloilo, there will be far bigger and worse consequences if I turn my back on violations of the Constitution and I will not do my constitutional duty to prosecute it.
Congrats.
That is a political question, and we will see the results in the May 2025 elections. And that is the right, sacred right of every Filipino people to decide who their representatives will be. But insofar as we're concerned with the constitutional duty to pursue this impeachment complaint, we will do our duty without fear or favor, not to be decided by popularity, but decide with truth and justice. Yun na po.
Last na lang po on my end. Kasi you said, Kong Lawrence, na you're going to do information campaign sa grassroots. Are you going to use the campaign, the local election campaign to siguro push the people na ito yung desisyon namin na in-impeach si VP Sara, ito yung naging desisyon namin, ito yung facts, ito yung naging articles of impeachment. Are you going to use that as possible campaign material po ba when the local campaign begins in March?
Not necessarily campaign material, but I have a platform since it's election, and it's my duty to educate my voters, my citizens in my district, to understand what the impeachment is about and what are the allegations all about. It's their duty to understand that there is a constitution and there are limits to what elected officials can do and not do under the Constitution. So isasama ko po yan. Bakit nangyayari ito? Ano ang dapat nating gawin? At intindihin nyo kasi tuwing bumoboto kayo, kada eleksyon, yung mga opisyal na nakaupo, dapat magsilbi yan sang-ayon sa ating konstitusyon. Dapat alalahanin nila na ang pwesto nila sa gobyerno ay utang na loob nila sa tao. And it's not a cause for them to abuse their power when they're in government.
Okay na po. Ano lang po, kasi of course, are you going to use the local campaign to, kasi nga sabi ni Kong Lawrence, you're going to do an information campaign. So, are you going to inform the public regarding the articles of impeachment, siguro as part na rin ng kampanya?
Well, I think they deserve also. It's not a matter of us educating them. They deserve to know.
In addition to that lang po, I don't think it will be using the campaign. I think our constituents themselves will be asking us. Sila na magvo-volunteer ng question. There is a lot of confusion and they would like to understand the reasoning for our actions here in Congress, and we will deliver. We will answer those questions, and hopefully it will enlighten for our constituents.
Thank you for this press conference because this is part of the information dissemination to the public and to all Filipinos na maintindihan nila ang proseso ng impeachment at bakit nangyayari ito.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Red. The next question will come from Gab Lalu of Inquirer Online.
Sir, short lang. Kapag pinayagan kayo ng Senate na kumuha ng private prosecutor, kukuha po ba kayo? And meron na bang options or premature pa?
We will sit down first internally, and if the rules provide, then we'll let the leadership or the lead prosecutor decide on that. Rog, tama?
I agree fully. As we mentioned, we don't have any formal structure yet, but everything, as soon as we have information, we'll be sure to let you know.
Thank you, Gab. Yanes Kapanti from GMA Online.
Kalimutan ko kanina. Sir, may appeal lang from the Makabayan block, and yan, they are one of the complainants. Mag-consider ba kayo hiring private prosecutor from the ranks of the complainants? Not necessarily yung Makabayan lang, pati yung tatlong grupo na yon. There are lawyers in their ranks. Are they being considered as part of the prosecution team bilang private prosecutors?
We can't speak for the wisdom of the lead prosecutor, seeing as no one has designated yet. But we won't say no to anything po. No? We can't decide yet now, and should we have more information, we'll let you know po.
Personally, we are open to welcoming more prosecutors, especially from the private complainants. Yes.
Just to add to that, no, of course, the prosecution team wants to see, wants to see, kasi kaya nga may impeachment tayo because that's actually what the prosecution wants to see, di ba? A conviction. So, if it will reinforces, no, yung strength ng prosecution, then I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be any other additional, no, private lawyers. But again, that would be discussed and that would be decided by the prosecution team internally. And with the leadership, of course.
Sir, ano lang pahabol, may humabol pa ba sa 215?
As mentioned po by Congressman Zia, I believe that some congressmen have signified their intent to add themselves as complainants. I forgot the number, but I think it was 225 na po. 24. So 239 as of now in counting. But as Kongnoy mentioned, the decision of whether or not they would be allowed to be, amended into the complaint as additional complainants would depend on the rules of the Senate when they release the rules for impeachment. So it would depend there. But as it stands, with 215 complainants, which is more than 1/3 required, the impeachment is sufficient naman po in form and substance, we believe.
Dadagdag ko lang yung 1/3 na vote based on the actual membership. Na 306 ata yung members, no? So that's 102. So it's more than the required number of signatures for the plenary to act on the impeachment complaint directly to the plenary.
Sirs, meron lang dalawang phone-in questions from Earl Tobias of IBC News. One of the grounds for impeachment, Article 5, says the respondent committed high crimes, including the high crime or murder. Paano po